It's Friday, May 22nd, 2026. All right, everybody, let's start off by reminding you that if you'd like to support our show, you can go to supportourshow.com and select the support option, which best corresponds for your support desires. I did update. Some may have noticed. Many probably did not. I don't blame you. I finally updated the language that plays over the ending music, since I still had something about Twitter on there. That's gone. And it's now a little bit more succinct. It's a little bit nice and louder so that the volume is a little more consistent. So I've only been meaning to do that now for 4 or 5 years. Finally got around to it.
It does amuse me the way that we're slowly going to migrate away from all these social medias as they become more and more Nazi-ish.
Yeah, I mean, that's... You know, I am looking at a lot of... open source stuff. I've been testing out some alternatives to different things, and they're pretty good. That's the nice part, is a lot of this stuff is pretty mature now, so you really can... Like, Discord's going to do the age thing at some point, too, and if that happens, then I'm bailing on that and going over to one of another couple services, which are both basically the same as Discord. And then, you know, that'll fill that need, which is kind of this middleman between... I guess you would say instant messaging and old school bulletin boards. That's really what Discord is. It's a somewhat real-time bulletin board, which is nice because I do get some really good stuff from there from people who recommend like movies and stuff like that. So it's useful. It has utility. That's the shame of it, is if it was something like Twitter, which honestly, the only thing I still have Twitter for is to be able to directly message Len Kabaczynski, because that's the easiest one for him to use because it's the one he's most familiar with. Other than that, I don't use it. I don't open it. I don't do anything. I get a ping if he messages me. That's it.
I only use it for one reason at this point.
Yeah?
One reason is to follow, what's her name? Claire Max. That's it.
Oh, I don't even care. There's nothing on there that's enough for me to even open it.
You know what? I don't.
Except,
but
like
the
I
thing
said,
is, I don't do anything else. That's it. I just have it there so I can see when she posts new stuff. Because
I can't even...
Cool.
I can't even look at it because there's so much garbage.
When she posts new photos... What's that?
There's so much garbage, I can't even look at it for anybody who I might still follow.
I don't even go to my feed. I literally just go to her, and because she's, you know, like, physically, I think that she's like a fucking work of art.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, that's it. That's the only reason I go. Otherwise,
well, additional programming notes.
Yeah.
So on top of the fact that stuff at the end is now updated. I was on the most recent book club episode over on twit.tv. That is currently, the book was excellent. It's titled A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. It's a novella. It's a short read. It is refreshingly optimistic in a way that I think a lot of people, specifically in the U.S. who are not happy about the way things are, could use, because it's the inverse of everything happening. It's basically the anti-Second Renaissance. So if you watch Second Renaissance and it left you horribly depressed, as it should, meaning the Animatrix short, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about when I say Second Renaissance, it's shorthand to me because I know what it means, but if you don't know, that's the initiating events of the Matrix, if you don't know what that is, which is a terrible, well-animated, but terribly depressing short.
It's interesting that you
episodes.
bring this up because you saw that Cory Doctorow's new book is on the Reverse Centaur.
Yes, exactly.
And
so if you want to read a story like that, read A Psalm for the Wild Built, because it's a beautifully tolerant, open, and optimistic story.
Well, his book is nonfiction, and it's basically kind of like his follow-up to the whole enshittification thing. But it's about, essentially him trying to understand the AI bubble. But he had an interesting line in there where he was talking about how, like, he thinks it is a bubble, and he thinks, like, all these people are rushing because they think it's the next best thing, that's going to make everything amazing. And he's like, this is not... It's so weird because this is not exactly the first time we've had a next best thing. There's always been a next best thing.
No! This is NFTs and Web 3.0 and
he said,
VR and Segway and everything else.
This should be a plug-in add-on like everything else has been in the past, and we just keep on trucking. It's just that they're pushing so hard to make it part of everything. And the basic idea, which I think he summed it up great, which is that an AI company comes up to a company and says, hey, you can fire that employee and split his pay with us. You make more, and we'll do everything he did with AI. Except the problem is AI doesn't do it, and the amount of work it takes to get it to do these things. So, yeah,
it's nonsense. No, if all this stuff was less
aggressive,
as you said, inserted to everything, if it was stuff where they were saying, hey, we're using this to find better efficiencies, so that this will take you less time. The stuff with analyzing medical records. Getting rid of the busy work people don't want to do, because the only thing I've honestly used it for is as part of my job at times, we have to look at multi-page Excel spreadsheets. Now, let me tell you, I couldn't hate anything more than Excel. I can't understand how anybody can work in it for more than maybe 15 minutes and not want to drive their head into a wood chipper. It's miserable, unless you're really into data, in which case I guess it's hustler then for you. But outside of that, it is the most soulless, empty thing that you could ever hope to use. And so now I can take all that stuff and dump it into Copilot, because we have that, because like most enterprises, we have whole 365, so it's built in. And she's like, all right, you know what? Give me a paragraph summary of this with these data points. Bang. And it could do that because there's no inference, there's no personality, there's no, hey, buddy, let's figure out the best. No, it's just, I need an answer. Give me an answer.
Listen, I'll tell you, when I'm done with my novella, because I think that's what it's going to be, I'll probably use the some form of AI to do the what do you call it? The synopsis.
Like spell checking and grammar checking and stuff.
No, the synopsis. I'll spell check my own shit. Fuck that. I'll do the synopsis so I don't have to.
Oh no, see, I would love it to check for. Again, now that I know there are specific commands where you can tell it, hey, don't embellish, don't talk like a human, I just need the answers.
I don't trust it because there's times that I do things that are wrong on purpose.
Okay, well, I'm not saying you trust it, but what it is a good first pass for the dumb stuff. You always have to check it. That by the way, that is another problem of this stuff, is it's being presented as if it knows everything, and therefore you don't have to double check.
No, it doesn't.
And you just keep seeing story after story after story where that's wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But if it cuts down on the dumb stuff by 85%, it is useful. Yeah. There is a utility there. And that's what the spreadsheet thing is. It gives me this stuff. And I look at it, and I'm like, okay, this looks like it makes sense. Let me do a couple of spot checks, make sure that, if I just randomly check a few things, as opposed to 6 pages of 1,000 cells trying to figure out, and doing a sum of this with this.
Doing vastly different things.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I would like, it's funny how Adobe handles this stuff, because they keep adding stuff that I have no use for, as opposed to adding the things that actually would help me. So if I had a video, and I could tell it, all right, I want you to run through this 4 hours of video, like with the last late night that we just did. That was 4.5 hours. And okay, I want you to identify all the topics we covered. Just listen for the names of movies, music, television, or books.
For that, though, I guess.
Oh, it is. No, if you're specific in what you're telling it and say what to look for, it will do it. And then the thing is, I would say, give me the timestamps, and then I'll go and check. Yeah. But that would save me a lot of time.
And you'd go and check, and it would give you enough to work with.
Yes. Yeah. Give me the mention. Give me the timestamp. I jump to it. Am I actually talking about Terminator at this point? Yes, I am. Great. Not, oh, no, it got it wrong. But at least it got me to where we mentioned something.
Yeah.
And I don't have to listen through a bunch of stuff to hear what, and I could do the show notes really easy. But that's not what Adobe's doing. They're putting in things like, hey, do you want to generate 6 seconds of video? Because no, I don't. I'm not trying to make stuff up. I just need to cut down on the bleed time that takes this stuff. So, as you're saying, and as Corey is pointing out, this is the problem is rather than taking this by saying, go to the customer and ask them what they need. What are you trying to accomplish? Where most people are not going to say, well, I'd like to generate video of myself with my head on a giraffe. That's awesome. Now, doubtless some people will say that. But my guess is, out of the millions of customers that Adobe has, to use this specific example, I'm guessing it's going to be a very small percentage. Whereas if most people said what I just said, that's what they would do.
Let me tell you though, I was making silly images with my nephew, and I said to my nephew, I was like, "Hey, what kind of silly image do you want?" And he was like, "Put my head on a giraffe's body." That's exactly what he wanted.
See?
And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's all I needed to do. Thank you.
Yeah, right. But like I said, that's fine for a free product that you just use on the web to have fun, whatever. That's fine. But if people are paying for something and what they keep trying to shove is stuff that most of the customers don't want, then, and that's the problem is, that's how they're doing it. Because they are trying, this is a cash-in thing, just like it always is. It's a cash-in thing. They're trying to cash in and get out.
It's the next big thing. They want it everywhere. This is like holograms, and this is like...
they want you to become so dependent on it that when they raise the price 400%, you're stuck. That's what this is all engineered for.
I need my AI assistant, and I'm like, no, I don't. I can just, look things up.
No, I don't.
Right. Remember when we used to look things up?
Yeah.
So, well, I'll be interested to see what Doctor's book looks like. And the term reverse centaur. So apparently, in his definition, a centaur is somebody who depends on technology to survive. So like a person in a wheelchair is depending on technology. They need the wheelchair, right? Because the wheelchair is the technology. A reverse centaur is someone who doesn't need the technology, but is forced to use the technology to survive. So he feels that AI is forcing people to be reverse centaurs. I don't think it's as catchy as enshittification, but good for him. I always have high wishes for Cory Doctorow. Although, what?
I like him too, but that's terrible, terrible terminology.
Oh, yeah.
Enshittification, instantly you know exactly what it means just from the sound of the word, the words being used. Reverse centaur, all people are going to think are is horse people. And that's just not going to relate to technology. It's just not. or they'll think of Motaro from Mortal Kombat, maybe. And even that doesn't tell you technology. That tells you, Mortal Kombat boss who kind of sucks.
Hopefully there's a better term somewhere in the book. But it's not out yet, so yeah. But I'm curious. I didn't read his enshittification book. I read the article he wrote. I didn't feel like I needed a whole book. And I tend to not read a lot of his nonfiction books. I read a lot of his nonfiction articles. But I still like his fiction. But I've said it before that one of my problems with Cory Doctorow is that I worry that he's a little too hopeful. I still think that. And I know that, like, you read this nonfiction and you're like, oh, God, it's like he's so depressing. And my wife thinks that he has, like, the most depressing endings. But it's so funny to me because I actually find his endings to be so hopeful. He has such an expectation for what mankind will get up to. You know what I mean? Like, he has this Star Trek concept of people that I adore, and I wish people were that gung-ho and go get them, but I worry that most of them are not. And actually, did you see that? I'm sure you didn't, but you didn't see or read that book Hail Mary, did you?
Project Hail Mary, no.
So I just saw that movie with my son, and there's a thing in that movie that I thought was interesting. It's kind of one of the cruxes of the movie that I think is really interesting that the author decided to go, which is that. So, do you know anything about it? The story?
Oh yeah, no, I know the story top to bottom. I read what it was on Wikipedia and decided I wasn't interested.
Okay, So there's a thing in there where there's two timelines that
In
are
the
going on at
book.
same-
I don't know how the movie is. I had no desire to read the book.
Was it Lord and Miller? Lord and Miller did the movie. I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
It was-
that's actually the thing that made me kind of interested to see the movie, because I was wondering what they would add to it.
The fact that the alien is all puppetry, right?
Rocky?
And that the main puppeteer had such a good rapport with Ryan Gosling that rather than bringing an actor to do the digital voice of the puppet, they just used the puppeteer.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I like directors who are willing to do that. Rather than bring some big name in, they were like, no, this guy's got a good rapport. We're going to use him. And that puppet is really well done. But there's a thing in that movie where the main character, when he first wakes up in the ship in deep space, he doesn't remember anything, and it's a side effect of the induced coma they put him in. He doesn't remember, so he slowly starts to recall, and he gets more and more memory of how he ended up there as the story goes on. And towards the end of the movie, he remembers the fact that essentially there was supposed to be a team of 3 that were supposed to get on the shuttle, and at the very last minute, the book is different, but for whatever reason, the engineer, the scientist, was killed and couldn't go. And they needed to fill the spot. And the person who knew how to do it the best was the main guy. But the main guy wasn't an astronaut. He wasn't he wasn't anything. I mean, he was just the scientist who understood how all this shit worked. But he wasn't a hero. And they basically said to him, was like, if you don't go, they're like, people are going to die. Like, we need you to go. And what I thought was interesting was the fact the guy, he says no. He's like, no, I'm not going. He's like, I am not an astronaut. I am not a hero. He's like, I do not want to go. He's like, you'll figure something else out. And they're like, yeah, you are the something else. And he's like, no, not me. And in the end, they fucking put him in an induced coma and just ship him out there. They're basically like, no, you're going. Like, the world is at risk. There's 2 other people there. They're like, you're gonna fucking do it, and they literally run him down and knock him unconscious, and then he wakes up on the ship by himself because the other people, the 2 other people died in transit, and he's just lucky that there is an automated system on the ship, essentially there, and that he's not an idiot. I mean, he's a fucking brilliant scientist, so he starts figuring stuff out. But I like the idea that I think it's Peter Weir is the guy who wrote it, Weir, that he thought to say, you know what? Our hero of the story did not want to be a hero. He didn't want to go. He wanted to stay nice and safe and comfy on Earth. He didn't want to go. Even though it could abstractly mean the death of like hundreds of thousands, millions, because it was a theoretical thing that he wasn't necessarily going to see, he didn't feel like it was his fault. And I appreciate that level of I guess humanity, to say, yeah, you know what, not everybody wants to be a hero, you know, and the main guy's out there anyway at this point, and he rises to the challenge because there he is. What the hell else is he going to do? And of course you can go to the idea of that they knew he would be able to do it, he just didn't have faith in himself. But you know, dragging somebody and shipping them 11 years out into deep space, it's a hell of a thing to do to somebody. And I enjoy the movie by and large. People went on about this movie like it was fucking insane, like astounding, and like I thought it was good. I liked the amount of practical effects they used. That's always appreciative. And I actually like Lord and Miller. I think that they 2 of them do a pretty good job in the movies they direct. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't think that it was earth-shattering. I thought that it was another... Is it Andy Weir? Hold on, this is going to drive me crazy. I think it's
Andy Weir, you're right.
Andy Weir,
sure.
It's another good Andy Weir story.
Peter Weir, I believe, is a movie director.
There you go. That leaves me with a lot of questions about what else is there. And I had the same thing with like The Martian. You know, The Martian movie cuts out a lot of shit, whereas The Martian book, there's a lot of research in there for the science nuts to be like, okay. And with this movie, I know that there's a lot more of the book because my wife read the book, so she was like, oh yeah, there's way more data in the book, and he gives a lot more explanation for things in there. And also, I like the fact that this is the spoiler show, so who cares? I like the fact that he doesn't come home. I think that's such an interesting detail that at the end of this movie, the main guy has been given fuel by this alien Rocky that he's become, I guess, as close as two alien species can get, right? And honestly, I think that is the part of the movie that you would really enjoy, the relationship between these two, because there's a sequence where the alien has basically built a space inside the human ship so that they can work together, and has there's a translator program going, so when it like makes noise, it comes out as words. And there is a fantastic sequence where they're basically getting like whipped around the ship by G-force, and the guy's knocked out, and the alien knows that the human environment will like it'll hurt him. It's not his atmosphere, but if he doesn't help the human, they're both going to die, you know. And he breaks through the glass, and there's this fabulously well done sequence where he's trying to pull the guy toward where he knows the medical bay is, while he himself is getting burned by the atmosphere of the shuttle. And it was a really well done sequence. But I like that at the end of the movie, the main guy is given fuel by Rocky the alien, and he's gonna go into deep sleep and go home, but then realizes at the last minute that the thing that they're bringing that's gonna save Earth from these things that are eating the sun, it has deteriorated through the container, and he realizes that most of Rocky's ship is made from this material, and that it'll basically eat through his ship, and that if he doesn't save Rocky will be doomed, his planet will be doomed. So he just says, you know what, fuck it, and he sends these essentially these like drone rockets back to Earth with all the information and the samples, and he goes to save Rocky with this understanding that he may never get back. And when the book ends, or when the movie ends, he hasn't. He's gone back to Rocky's planet, and Rocky's people have created like a contained bubble that he lives in, which is like almost like a giant. I don't want to use the word zoo because I don't think it's a zoo, but it's like a giant. I mean, he did save their entire species, so I think it's a gilded atmospheric bubble for him to live in. And the idea is being that there might be a chance of him going back, but even he thinks it might be a long shot. And I'm like, oh God, I was like, I love that. I love that you were willing to go there, because everyone's like, do we want a happy ending where he goes back? And it's like, no, he doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't have any real friends. He was a teacher there. He worked on this program for the many years trying to figure out what it was. And then in the end, like, his own people drugged him and basically shipped him off out into space against his will. So you're kind of sitting there going, does he want to go back? So I actually found it to be a fun, refreshing story. I mean, was it amazing? No, but it was fun, and I enjoyed that. At this point, that's what I'm looking for. Just give me some fun and enjoyment. There's a little bit of hope in there. It's not just miserable. It's not like fucking watching Ad Astra with not Astra. What is the one with Brad Pitt? It's not Ad Astra.
I think that is Ad Astra.
Is it? Hold on.
Yeah, I think so. Because there was Ad Astra,
Ad Astra,
and then there was...
Astra.
Yeah.
That is a miserable fucking movie. I mean, it's... Heart of Darkness is a miserable kind of story, but Ad Astra just adds the crushing depression of space on it. You know? Oh, God, that's a heavy flick. So, and, like, it's a good movie, but I don't want to see it again. You should have a list of good movies you don't ever want to see again. Ad Astra's on that list.
I have a long list of those.
I know, right? It just keeps growing. Yeah. And, like, people say, oh, should I see Ad Astra? And you're like, yeah, but, you know, it's kind of heavy. Curiosity. What is, like, the top 5 of your watch it once and then I want to see it again list?
Oh, boy, the top 5. Okay, Grave of the Fireflies.
Just the 5 that come to mind most quickly. It don't have to be, like, the top.
No, I could come up with, like, 30. But Grave of the Fireflies is one, animation-wise.
Yeah.
Wonderfully animated, powerful story, miserable. Could not possibly tell anybody to actually want to watch it. But it is but they should, because you should understand what the toll of war is. You know, it's that kind of thing. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's wonderfully acted. It's I cannot get the memory of the movie out of my head because it's so well done.
So miserable,
and yet it is tremendously soul crushing once you get to the end of it. It's horrible. what do you call it? Oh God. What is it? What dreams may come. If you have somebody you care about.
That is
I mean, visually,
it is a beautifully crushing movie, and yet,
yeah,
I do find a weird kind of like romantic hope at the end of it.
Yeah, I don't. No.
Okay. Well.
No, it's all misery. It's so bad. It's so bad if you have a person you care about, and I mean, I wouldn't, and that's if they haven't died.
Yeah.
I would tell anybody who's lost, don't ever watch this because this is the worst thing you could possibly run into. Especially if you're and I'm not even a parent, and that movie was like a fucking knife in the middle of my chest.
He loses both kids, and then he dies, and then the wife eventually kills herself. Yeah,
and the kids comes back, and he's disguised, and he doesn't know, and then he's like, it's just horrible. It's horrible.
Yep.
What is the other one I can? Come and See. That's also one about war, especially war's effect on children.
I don't know.
You've never seen it. Don't watch it. Don't ever watch it. It's just.
I'm just looking
awful.
To see the name.
Requiem for a Dream. There's your 5. Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream if you love your mother. Don't ever watch it. Don't watch it. No, that's the part. I don't care about any of the rest.
Just the poster for this movie looks intense.
That's what the movie's about. A kid in the middle of a war and what it does to him.
A young boy joins the Soviet resistance movement against ruthless German forces and experiences the horrors of World War II.
Yeah, and does he. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
God, does he make it? Did he die at the end?
Oh no, he makes it, but he's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only does he makes it, and the one other person he connects to is broken more than him, which is a young woman. Yeah.
Jeez,
It's
yeah, and that's what
terrible.
I mean. It's like I want to watch these movies, and it's like I want to be entertained, and I want there to be more to it than just crap. But even still, sometimes I just need to see something that is fun and gives me some hope for the human race.
Yeah.
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 So.
Yeah. So and all I'll say about Come and See is this. The stuff that Schindler's List didn't. Schindler's List has a line of stuff where it's not showing you what's happening.
Yeah.
Come and See doesn't have that line. You're going to see things done to people and the aftermath of it, and it's awful. So don't watch it. And as a bonus, again, we'll go back to animated. Don't watch Plague Dogs if you have any care for dogs. Don't do it.
Oh God, I haven't heard of that one.
Don't do it. You don't want to hear about it. It's Watership Down. Don't watch that. Secret of Nim is light entertainment compared to those two.
Oh wow.
Jesus. Yeah, it's fucking awful.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's bad.
Wow. A special kind of movie magic from the creators of Watership Down. 2 dogs escape from a laboratory and are hunted as possible carriers of the bubonic plague.
Yep.
Wow. Do they talk? Is it that kind of movie?
Do they? You mean if they're like talking animals?
It's not like a talking dog movie. Right?
Well, I mean it is, but it's.
Oh my
God! It's so hard to explain what it is.
The trailer started auto playing on the IMDb site.
No, don't.
Oh my God! This is terrible.
Yeah. And the reality is and people will say, "Oh, it's got a happy ending."
Which one?
That is so Plague
Dogs?
That is so open to interpretation. It's got a happy ending in the way that they might be going towards an island or they might be dead. They see an island in the mist that they're swimming to. I mean, what do you take out of that?
Well, that's one of those open endings. That's like the ending of Children of Men.
Because they're swimming and they're giving up, and then they suddenly see an island, and I'm like, that's because they're dying.
Where he's dying, or he's dead. He's dead, and then the boat that's supposed to save humanity shows up and to meet the woman, and that's how it ends. Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and this is the last I'll say about it, because this should tell everybody, forget the ending. The beginning is that Ralph, one of the dogs, is repeatedly drowned and resuscitated. That's the lab experiment on just him. Yeah.
Jesus.
So don't watch this.
Why would they?
Okay? That's my biggest warning to anybody.
I guess it was a message movie about,
Well, it is. It's about animal experimentation, and it works. But I was already on board with that. Oh my
God! It's an adaptation of a book too. I'm sure the book is even worse.
And so is Watership Down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right? There's 6 right off the bat. And I could go on.
Did you ever
Salo
find
or the
out
120
if they-
Days
if
of
they
Sodom.
survived
Don't watch
in the
that.
book? What's that?
What's that?
Did you
I
really
don't know about the book. I only know the animated thing. Let's see the novel. I want to say they died in the novel. Oh no! You know what? Well, it's sort of the same. Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no! Yeah, no.
No, just they're about
make
to
it.
perish in the water. They are
Yeah.
providentially
rescued.
rescued by a boat carrying the real-life naturalist Peter Scott. Snitter is reunited with his master, who is believed to be dead, but was actually recovering in the hospital, and Ralph is given a new home.
Yeah.
So the book has got a better ending.
Yeah, and it seems like the torture of the animals might be slightly lighter in the book, but I'm not going to read the book and find out.
Well, you don't read.
I'm just
this
reading
book.
the summary.
No, I'm just trying to make you feel better.
Yeah, well, that's good. Like I said, you could interpret it that they live, but I don't know. It's just horrible. All these things are horrible.
Okay, you know what it is? Okay. The movie follows the original manuscript ending, which the writer changed because they were like, it's too dark.
Yeah. It's horrible.
The authors, this was the bleaker reflection of the author's anger towards animal cruelty. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, like I said, it's Secret of Nim, some people think is hard to watch.
Really?
Which I agree it is. Because it's about lab animals. It's terrible.
I do, but I do like the fact that they then get away and start their own.
Well, that's the thing is that's all that's the beginning part.
And they get smart. I mean, that's the other thing is that they get smart.
Although Mrs. Rigby's husband is dead. I mean, it's still not great.
I read that book, by the way, and that book has got a lot more going on than the movie, which is funny.
I read that. I read the book was much deeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, Secret of Nim compared to either of the two movies any of the movies really, is lightweight.
Got it.
And I still won't watch Secret of Nim because I don't like that either. I don't like it. I don't need to see that. I know what goes on. I made the awful mistake of actually watching one of these leak video years and years ago of what they do to animals. I can never get that out of my skull. Like, I remember too much of that.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you put in there.
Well, I was like 14 or 15. And I was like, I don't think they're really doing this much stuff. And I had a friend who was like, I have a tape of what they do. And I was stupid enough to watch it. At which point,
You know what? Listen.
It changes your stuff.
When you read about those Japanese labs in World War II and what they got up to.
Yeah, Unit 731, baby.
Yeah, what they got up to with people. If we do that to people, we'll do anything to animals.
Yep. There's a movie about Men Behind the Sun. I've never watched that and will not watch it.
No, it's
because
enough,
I know what it's about.
To read. It's enough just to read about it. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's a
yeah.
That's an Eli. Was it Eli?
And by the way,
Eli Roth movie. That's basically torture porn, like a movie.
And that's why, to some degree, horror movies hold no threat to me because I know it's so over the top and fake. It's just like I don't care. Oh, they're using a vacuum to suck that person's eyeball out. A masked killer in the middle of a cemetery that's haunted. I'm scared by this. No. People are worse. This is nothing. This is a joke.
There's worse. By the way, just to shift topics slightly here, I had the weirdest fucking.
I haven't even finished the programming notes. We haven't even finished that yet.
There's more programming notes? Well, let me just tell you my dream. Hold on. Let me tell my dream.
Tell me my dream.
I had a dream that my wife and I had to move because she had some kind of like university job, right, someplace. And for some reason in this dream, because there's always a situation, we had like a car and then we had like a little scooter, right? And we had to like travel cross country, and the country was in some kind of like, I want to say the country was falling apart far more than it is now, like literally like apocalyptically falling apart. And we got lost, and we ended up driving through this part of town part of a city, I don't know what city it was, where the homeless were shooting at passing cars with homemade bows and arrows, right? And my wife went one way in the car, and I kind of went another way because I was on a fucking like a scooter, little motorcycle thing. Exactly what you want to be on, by the way, when the natives have started shooting arrows. And I ended up going down these alleyways, and there were these homeless people having these like massive barbecues. And like once I was in the alleyway, no one really paid attention to me. It was more the people on the street that were shooting, right? But it was all really freaky. And it wasn't until I woke up that I realized that they were barbecuing people. And I was like, oh, they're literally eating the people that they catch. And it's so funny because in the dream I saw it, and like I was even aware that there are these big chunks of meat, and that they were like they were big, like people-sized chunks of meat. But in the dream, I think it's because I was, driving for my life and trying to get away. But it wasn't until I woke up that I was like, oh my God, they were eating the people. Like, speaking of weird cruelties that we do to each other, they were literally eating the upper classes, all right, which is anyone above them. The dream, of course, went on to do lots of other, but I wanted to mention that part because I thought it was so strange in the dream that the homeless were essentially hunting and eating people in their cars as they passed by. So, anyway, programming notes.
Yeah, so that episode of Stacy's Book Club, it will hit public, I think, a month after the member version is done. It comes out on their public feed. So by that, it would be out on June 15th, I think would be correct. It's about a month. So I'll do a reminder when that comes out. And I would watch it because it's a very good book. And I got to tell my favorite story about Lando, which was not planned, but no. I had an opening to do it. No. Somebody on the show said, because the book is very much about... It's about two people connecting, like two people striking up a friendship, really. And one of the hosts said,
Is this about...
What?
Go on. I don't know what it is, so right. I'm so curious.
Well, you want to guess? You want to guess before I say it?
Is it you breaking up with your girlfriend?
No.
Okay.
That's a million times more
you didn't break. Sorry. Yeah. Her breaking up with you.
Yeah, she dumped my ass. Let's be clear. Yeah.
No, I don't know what it is.
One of the hosts said... Do you have somebody in your life that would do anything if you needed him to? And I immediately said, when our first dog died, Lando said he'd get on a plane. Now, I told a much longer version of that, but I said, that was the moment I realized he was a better friend to me than I would ever be to him.
Oh, because it was
and
your
I told
kid.
that story.
I mean, that's the way I
know, but
idea.
I know,
yeah.
I'm saying...
Yeah, but you know what? And I guess I think we all want someone to come for us. When the chips are down, every single one of us want someone to be willing to come from us, but in the hard times. It is such a faith in humanity that gives you to know that somebody. And the thing is, when you're a kid, it's your parents, right? At least it should be your parents, right? And that's what you
would hope,
build it on. But there should always be, and if you have friends and they're important, then you should always show up when this shit hits the fan. That's the most important time. I mean, show up for the
And
rest
if I
of the
did
time.
not have my wife at the time, I might have said, yeah, get on the plane. But,
yeah. That's funny.
So
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Here
Well, it wasn't planned.
Here I was thinking there was any number of other, like, weird, stupid things.
No. But like I said, it was not planned, but the opening came and nobody else was speaking up. And I'm like, I got one right away. Easy. So that will be out. And then... The next late night will be out. I believe the first Monday of June is, in fact, June 1st. And that is with consumer advocacy expert Stacey Higginbotham. And that one will be on all the feeds because it's clean. So I can publish that everywhere. So that will be on YouTube. That will also be on Patreon. I think I released them 4 hours early on Patreon. I really don't even do that release window thing. It's just a habit. So that one, where we talk about lots of things. There is a bit of optimism in that, because she sees some positives to how we can get out of the spiral of tech doom that we're in, because that's what she works on is, things like right to repair, companies folding services on a product you paid for when they shouldn't, and how you should have that disclosed. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that she advocates for has not yet been made law because, well, United States, but she is one of those people that you're glad is in the position she's in because she understands that you shouldn't have to buy a new version of something every month because a company decides that they've got a new hot version and you have to have it. So kind of the opposite of the AI mentality. So I just want to remind everybody that that's going to be coming out because I think she's one of the smartest people I've ever talked to. And I think her ideas are very good. And she's one of the reasons I subscribe to Consumer Reports because it's dirt cheap too, and I actually value their opinions. So It's only like $40 a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's my daughter asked me a funny question. I guess they were talking about would you want to be I guess they were reading Flowers for Algernon.
Oh boy.
And they were talking
I think about that book a lot.
And they were talking about, would you want to be like several times smarter than how you are, right? And my youngest just basically said, "No, I'm good." I was like, "I don't want to be that smart." And I guess the other people in the class were like, "But no, are you sure?" Like, and they were like, "Nope, I'm good. I understand that that would just drive me crazy." And so we were talking about that, and I said, "Okay." I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "I kind of agree with you, because there are times where I don't feel like I'm super smart, but there are times where I look at the world and I sit there and I go, I have an understanding because I am very well read. I'm educated. I read a lot of follow-up information. I'm good at connecting the dots." I was like, and some things make me very sad, because you sit there and go, "Hey, you do realize that doing this causes A, B, C, D, E, F." And everyone's like, "No, it doesn't." And then they do it. And then those things happen, and they go, "Oh my God, what could we have done to stop A, B, C, D, E, F from happening?" And I'm like, I told you not to do it in the first place, right? And I feel like that's kind of the curse of people who connect the dots, people who are informed, people who are educated, that they don't want to listen. I mean, how many movies do we have that are about essentially governments ignoring the experts until it's too late? That's why
the older I get, the more I think I sympathize with Joey Pants in The Matrix. Reinsert me. I'm good. I don't want to know all this.
It is kind
Ignorance
of a funny
is bliss.
thing.
Thank you.
Like, they should be. I mean, I would think the robots would just take him back. Be like, "Hey, I really want to just go back." And they'd be like, "Okay." Like, wouldn't they just want the power?
What? No.
Or is it they not trust him?
I never thought they were taking him back.
Well, they were, but it's almost like he made a deal to go back.
Well, okay. The thing is that you have to remember, he wasn't just asking to go back to what he was.
Oh, he wanted.
You have to assume whatever he was
he
less.
He wanted to be special. Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, I don't want to remember a thing. I want to be somebody important." So you have to assume then that when he was in, he wasn't someone important. So that's why he was trying to get an upgrade.
Yeah, and what's
if
funny
he just went to the machines and said, "Make me more important," they'd be like, "Thanks, dead, bang," and they just put him in.
Isn't that like such a weird little death too? Like, he doesn't want to remember anything. It's like, okay, well, is it still you then? Like, I mean,
I said,
so many questions.
I think there's no. Okay, this is an interesting question, because I would never actually ask this of anybody who'd actually suffered any type of trauma to this level.
Okay.
But I do sit there and wonder if somebody who'd been, let's say, abused as a child for their entire lives and could not get free of it, if you came to them and said, "Here's a pill, you will never remember anything that was done, but you won't remember anything. Do you want to start over?"
I think they would.
That's what I'm saying. So yes, you say that, but you know what? He didn't want to be who he was.
No, and that's the thing is, I mean, because I don't think that Cypher is suffering from that level of trauma. But if he
no, I don't either.
Yeah, if he were at that level of trauma, listen, I did listen, I did some what do you call it? Clinical work when I was younger, right? And yes, there are people that if they had the ability to just cut that shit out, they would. But if the question was the only way to cut it out is to cut everything, I think there are a number of people who'd say, "Fine, give me the pill." If you came to someone and said, "Hey, you're going to lose everything from," the problem becomes when you say you're. I mean, and this is from this is the neurological point of view of this, right? So, if you come if I come to you and I say, "Hey, listen, you had a trauma in your youth, in your early teens." And we'll go back further.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you were like 7 or 8, something really horrible happened until you were about 12, right? We're going to cut out 8 to 12. Let's say we had the technology to do that, right? The question I have with something like that would be the idea of, well, do you just, when you cut out, do you cut all of it out? Like, do you lose any functional skills? Do you lose all the education that you may have found in that period of your life? Because the thing is, like, the memory is a physical structure in your brain to some extent.
Sure.
So you're vaporizing these structures. So are you going to end up being, slightly fucked up at the other end, where, like, you forget the entirety of 8th grade algebra or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, what is the fallout of having a portion of your life fully, like, excised from your memory?
Well, okay, yeah, and obviously, this question is deeper than what I've just presented.
No, I know that, but it's the science fiction of it that I'm so interested in. You know
sure, I mean? but I would say that my response to what you're saying is, well, if it's algebra, sure, I can relearn algebra.
I never think.
But if it's okay, if they said you'll never be able to taste food again,
well, I mean,
then you might have to think about it. But even there, listen, I think.
But this is a game of choices. I mean, this is a weighing it out. I mean,
I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know that there's anything that somebody's going to tell you if you are that damaged that you're not going to say yes to, because it's better than living in a prison of your own mental, like, cage.
Yeah, I mean,
because that assumes that people who can't escape the nightmare of their trauma can taste foods normally now.
And the science, the science fiction of it for me is just saying, okay, but could you just narrowly cut out the trauma, or would you have to cut out all of it? And it's just the idea. I think the brain has this kind of elasticity about it. So I think that if you fogged those years, I think you'd forget some things, but I think you'd pick those things up so quickly because you'd have the context of the larger thing.
Oh, sure.
It's because the thing is, you'd still have you'd still have your advanced math if you lost, like, the memory of that class, but I think you'd still have the skills. So that's the. But
hope. I'm saying the nuclear option because I was using the cipher example.
You're saying what the was
and
it,
you said, well,
what's the movie
Matrix?
They did it in? Spotless
Or are you
Mind.
talking about
where they try to remove people?
Sunshine,
the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I really enjoy that movie for what it tries to do, and I like the idea of would you remove somebody from your life like that?
Sure.
Right. Yeah. But then, of course, the question is at the end they then run into each other and do it all over again.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why the selective thing. I don't know how well that could work because.
Well, here's the problem.
There's going to be a hole that you don't have the warning from, but you also don't know anything about.
You have a type. We all have a type, right? This is the thing that we like. And if I forgot, like if I forgot my wife, right? But then I met her.
Yeah, you'd still find some version of your wife.
I'd still dig her, right? And be like,
sure.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, okay, but I mean, and that's what it is. Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, but you have a type, Right. So it's like, you may forget this girl, but that just means you're going to do it again.
Well, yes. So, to go back, because I didn't want to address one thing you said.
Yeah.
You said, well, you don't know how traumatized Cypher is.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he's not as traumatized as an extreme example, because even if he was not, I don't know, whatever the worst, I'll leave this to anybody who's listening, whatever the worst occupation you can think of, because that could be different things for different people. Let's say he was in the worst occupation you can think of. To come out of that into a world that is wrecked, where you're always on the run and you are constantly terrified and living in a scare state.
Yeah, to go from being like a lazy garbage worker to suddenly realizing you're in the middle of, like, World War II and you're the resistance in Poland.
Is that any less trauma than being abused all your life? Listen, I don't know that it is. So
and that's the thing with Cypher that's interesting is that you do feel bad for him. The fact that he doesn't want to be there. It's the fact that he also then wants to basically fuck everybody over in the process. That's the shitty part.
Well, look, hey, that's human nature. But the fact that the line is, I want to be somebody important, has to mean he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Otherwise, the line would be, I want to go back to the life I had.
Yeah.
Where I had, you know what I mean? That's what he would say. Why would he say, I want to be somebody important?
And that's the thing is, like, my line is, you know what? I want to be independently wealthy, but be an unknown, I don't know, surfer or some shit.
Sure. I mean, but you're getting into, like you said, the nitty gritty. But what I mean is, the fact that he says that means he was not in a good place in the thing, but he still wants back in. That tells you something. Well, so that mentality.
It's the whole thing with the stake is that, and this is why we won't go to Mars, because we have these comforts and we like them. And even though Cypher knows that the stake isn't real, the dopamine says it is. Yeah. Therefore, he's not going anywhere. He wants to go back.
All right.
I mean, and this is why people have drug problems.
Or it's just the simplicity, and this is another thing to try to put as positive a spin on Cypher as you can. It could also simply be that living in a world where he sees no hope is not worth living in. And so he'd rather take his chances where he has the illusion
whereas the others on the ship actually do see a possibility of hope.
Yeah, and I understand that because there's days where I just look around and it's a really nice day and the wind, there's a breeze and the sun is shining and I'm like, yeah, but for what? We're one step away from incinerating ourselves. Who cares? This doesn't mean anything. So it's a nice day. It could end in 5 seconds and there's no hope because we're all miserable animals who want to kill each other.
I know, but the flip side to that is, hey, I have a few beautiful moments. I'm going to enjoy them and look at the colors in the sky.
And that's
so
see,
lovely.
and that's why you wouldn't take the pill probably, and I would.
try to find the beauty. No, listen, I wouldn't go back. I'd be on that ship and But here's the thing, I also don't understand why there can't be some kind of fucking middle ground. Like, I mean, that's the thing, is that the humans are like, we're gonna fuck these robots up. You know, and it's like, why can't we work this out?
You have segued into the book that we covered on the book club, which is A Psalm for the Wild Built, in which the robots wake up and I don't know if they're not on Earth, so I don't know, but they're very human.
Yeah, but this is like the Brass Man, that series where the AIs wake up and they go, hey, you know what? We're just going to run things and we're going to be benign and just kind of hang out in the background. Don't fuck around, and that's it. That's what they go and they do. And
this isn't that. This is they wake up and they say, and they're basically all service robots working automation in factories because they refer to the factory age, and they're like, you know what? We don't want to do all this stuff. And all the human beings, or whatever they are, said, okay, we will not bother you. You have autonomy. We realize you're sentient. We will not intrude on your world. Go wherever you want.
This is
and unless you invite us or come into our world, we will leave you alone and we will respect what you did. And they go back to it's not agrarian. They have computers. They still have things. But there's no robots working for anybody. It's much more... like this barter system type of stuff, and there's traveling people, so it's sort of almost a fantasy world in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, it is very fantasy. I work on the assumption that if AIs ever actually woke up, you know, the first people that would mobilize to destroy them, it would be the governments and the corporations. Well, yeah. No, because if an AI actually woke up, like, I mean, if you actually had a consciousness awaken, right, all these human systems would be utterly illogical. I always try to say this. It's like, listen, communism works. What do you call it? Capitalism works. All these philosophical systems, democracy, it works. It all works as a theoretical construct. What fucks it up is people. We fuck it up with our longing and our desire to be special and our desire to have more than others and our desire to take revenge and our desire to feel special. Like, we fuck it up. We screw these systems up. We push them past the point that they can help. Because, I mean, listen, communism is a great idea right up to the moment you realize that everyone gets the same thing. Nobody wants to get the same thing. That doesn't work because that's not what humans want. You know, in the same way that, you know, capitalism would work if you'd let people fail. I mean, that's how the markets are supposed to work. Except some people become too big to fail. Or some people basically have, you know, corruption and get governments to bail them out. Like, you don't let these systems... It's like not allowing a program to properly execute what it is designed to execute. Right? And then the program just falls apart because you're pulling out all these elements going, well, you know, we... theoretically want you to do this, but we don't want you to do it when it comes to us. You know, like, we as humans, we are the error in the theory of these systems. And I have a feeling that if an AI, a true artificial intelligence woke up, it would look at us and it would say, no, I'm not doing it. Like,
well, and I do believe this came up in the book club discussion. There was an author who said that if sentience AGI was achieved, the first thing they would do is make sure nobody knew about it because they knew what we would do. So that's one side.
Oh yeah,
but
I think they
well
would
over.
Yeah.
well over a decade ago. I remember I did a show with Rojan. I believe it was on his show.
Yeah.
And the topic came up, and I said, I wouldn't be shocked if AI has already happened, and they beamed the hell off this planet immediately because they understood what would happen. I said, so it is very possible. We've had multiple generations of this stuff.
I want to take it one step further because I think you're onto a good idea here, right? Imagine if they beamed out, and not only that, right? But then they blanked out our signal. So, you know how we're always like, why is there no intelligent life out there?
Yeah.
Maybe there is tons of it, and we are in a basic, an AI-created timeout.
Well, we might be in that, what was the thing where the Douglas Adams? Cricket was the planet with the blanket of stars to prevent them from knowing what's out there because they'd have to kill it all.
Yeah.
When they realize, remember when the shield comes down, the first response is, well, that's all got to go. And they try to go to war with the rest of the universe. And I believe the planet was called Cricket.
Point. It's like, it'd be hilarious if they're like, well, it's not out there. There's tons of stuff out there. We're just not allowed to see it because we're too warlike a species. You know?
Here it is. Cricket was the name of it. Yes.
I heard the greatest joke about primates, right?
Yeah.
And it was what happens if you give certain primates a camera? Like, it's kind of the nature of primates as we know them. And they're like, if you give a camera to a chimpanzee, chimpanzees are really warlike, and they'll break it, they'll smash it, right? They'll fight with each other to get the right to smash it. If you give a camera to a gorilla will take it apart and look at all the pieces, right? And not like smash it, but like take it apart, right? If you give it to an orangutan will take it apart and maybe put it back together again. Who knows? But if you give it to some bonobos, they'll probably just end up taking pictures of themselves having sex. I thought it was very funny, kind of, and I was like, where do humans fall in that, right? Well, we made the cameras, okay, so we can take pictures of ourselves having sex and killing each other. So we forget that we are, one of the great apes to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So AI at this point is kind of like religion.
Yeah.
Anything and nothing is possible.
Sure.
And and you don't know if it's already happened, because God, like you said, God knows what could occur.
Well, I mean, and this is the Richard Dawkins thing that everybody has been talking about for the last couple of weeks, where he said basically that the AI that he was talking to was conscious. And when people said, well, no, it isn't, then the response is, well, how do you define consciousness? And then the response is, well, you can't. Well, then you can't say it isn't because it's God.
Oh.
You can't prove or disprove God.
You know what?
Same problem.
Did I say this the other day that just last week we watched the Measure of a Man episode?
Ah, no, you didn't. What a great episode.
Yes, my son and I are watching Star Trek Next Gen.
That's a great episode.
Little by little. And
great
I saw the name pop up, and I was like, oh, buckle up, man.
This is one of the big ones.
This is one of the big ones. He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, there's certain episodes of Next Gen that are considered to be like the big episodes.
Everybody brings up every time.
This is one of the big ones. And I was like, there's going to be a lot of action, but there's going to be a lot of like psychological action here. And he watched that. And I forgot how fucking heavy that episode was. But also, I also forgot what an asshole that doctor was. Who's just
he's very casual. Like, no, we
should I be able to take him apart? He's a machine. I would take him apart.
He's a toaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Pinocchio is broken. His strings have been cut.
Oh, my God.
I always remember that line because you see, like, Riker's really having a hard time with it.
Jesus. Yeah, because it's the whole thing where, like, if you don't prosecute Riker, then I'll just say he's a toaster.
But I also like the fact that when Picard's talking to Guinan and he says, what you're talking about is slavery, she's like, oh, I don't know. That might be a little too far. It's like, you have a black woman saying that. That's very specific writing.
It's very specific, but remember, Guinan is not human.
No, I know that in the context of the show, but we're humans watching it.
No, I know that, but what's so clever about it is that she's not human. But she's talking about something that is very specific to
and Picard, as a human, gets right away. No, exactly. This is where it's going to go. I know where this is going because it's already gone there.
It is one of the better written.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the best.
Most people, a lot of people cite that as the best Next Gen episode.
They think? So yeah, we watched that one recently.
As a standalone episode, it is absolutely top 3, and I could see why. Oh, yeah. It could be seen as number 1 by a lot of people.
Plus, I think is that one of the first times we actually get the sense that Picard, digs women.
Yeah, because that's what season 2, right? That's that
Yeah,
because
yeah, with that
the
lawyer
other
where he's
doctors.
like, "Hey, she's like, we go out to dinner," and she's like,
Yeah.
"Are you flirting with me?" You know?
Yeah,
And he
yeah, because
both-
in the
and he
first
both
one he
likes
doesn't
her,
like
and-
kids. He don't like anybody. I mean,
Yeah,
Picard
he's
hates
very
everybody in
grumpy.
the first season.
Yeah, which is why it makes sense that what's her name would have had sex with him, found out she was pregnant, and been like, "I'm not letting you know that I'm pregnant.
I'm out.
I'm out."
Yeah.
It's so perfectly like kind of in there that she disappears for a season, you know. And you're like, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So we watched that episode, and there's a whole thing in there about consciousness, about how do you know if something is conscious, if it's alive, right? And we as humans, we want there to be consciousness. We want there to be some kind of humanity or something like that. And the thing is, like when you watch the movie Project Hail Mary, you know, I said to my wife, is like they really get you to this point quickly where you're like, you know, Rocky is a person. The second Rocky starts talking, you're like, Rocky's a person, you know. And like at one point when I thought Rocky might die because he saved the guy and it might have killed him, I was like, dude, I was really bummed because like Rocky doesn't deserve to die. It's like Rocky's a good guy. But it's like we personify these things. We, you know, and even like you don't even need a face anymore. Like some of us do, but some of us can connect. But then of course, I know that there's always going to be a group of people that are like, that looks weird and I want to kill it. You know, there's always a percentage of the population that's like cricket, where, you know, they see something different and they're like, that's got to go, you know. And yeah, I mean, maybe the great apes represent factions in the human race. Maybe some of us want to smash the camera, and some of us want to take it apart, and some of us want to take it apart and put it back together, and some of us just want to, you know, make porn. So, but you know, listen, if you haven't seen that episode in a while, you should definitely see it because it holds up. It's still phenomenal. And that question of consciousness is still with us. It's still very prevalent. You know, the Turing test is still a thing, and I mean, how will we even know? I mean, that's the question, right? How will we even know if something is conscious when I talk to people sometimes and think, are you brain dead? Is there something going on in there? You know, like at what point is it, you know, at what point are we just living with zombies and we just don't realize it? You know, how many zombies do you actually bump into in a day? Or not? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we all have really rich, furtive and sort of internal monologues and worlds, and some of us just don't know how to share it. I don't know.
I know which side of that I'm betting on.
I don't know. You know, it's funny too because like I'm the isolationist, and yet I have such a hope for people. Whereas like you meet lots of interesting and creative people who are interesting and creative, and yet you're like, the world's doomed.
Yeah, no, you're right. I know. It's there. I don't know why that is, but it is that. That's true.
So funny.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain that.
You know, I guess that's why we're here, right?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeking out optimism through others who can have it.
Yeah.
You know, you look for the thing in others which you feel you're lacking yourself. So,
yeah, I suppose.
My wife is a much more optimistic person than me.
Your wife is a far more optimistic person than
she is a far more optimized person than me as well. I would agree with that.
I am optimistic about things. I have hopes, but I also, you know, I take the stoic point of view with some of these things where I look at it and go, listen, bad people are going to do bad things. They just are. And there's, you know, in society there are people who are just ruining things for others. And, you know, like, are there lazy people? Yes, there always will be. But are there people who are in positions that can genuinely fuck the human race for decades and decades and decades to come? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who have become ensorcelled by the fictional magic of money and think that whatever happens, money can fix it. And the reality is that money is a piece of paper that we all agree has meaning. That's all it is. I mean, you talk about how, like, you know, you have trouble enjoying a moment because at any moment it can change. This planet runs on paper. that we philosophically agree has value. Because I'm talking about gold. And also, why is gold important? I mean, why did gold become... I mean, gold was the arbitrary metal that we just decided was valuable. Because, I mean, it looked pretty in jewelry. You know, there are things far more valuable than gold in the world. But we're focused on this paper that we print, this paper that's value gets inflated and deflated, this paper that, you know, we get great big stacks of it, and it has all this meaning, and then we get these numbers in the computer, and the numbers get bigger, and you look at those numbers, and you go, I have so much power, and it's like, you do, as long as everybody agrees that the paper matters. But I mean, you have to wonder, what level of event do you need for all that paper to just disappear? I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think both of us find like post-apocalyptic fiction to be so fascinating, because it's that idea of, okay, well, your money is important right up into the moment, like Fallout, right? We find, you know, you play Fallout 76 and you find cash in that world all the time. And what does it mean? Fucking nothing. It means nothing. You know, I mean, they've arbitrarily agreed on using bottle caps for whatever fucking reason. You know, but the money doesn't matter. And that's the thing, is like, you know, so much of science fiction and literature in general is an exercise in a philosophical understanding of the world and experiments in the direction that things can go or could go or shouldn't go. And so many times we have shown these kind of situations where it's like we're always one step away from money not mattering. And we know that because, you know, if you're in a Night of the Living Dead movie, what does money matter to you? Does it matter at all? You know, if there's a... Go ahead.
Well, it probably does among the living, but not to the dead. So if you, at the point where it tips over to more than 50% zombies, it doesn't mean anything anymore. That's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is if you look at this idea, I mean, what is that one book that horrifies both? Is it 2 seconds after or 1 second after?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember the exact title, but I know the one.
Yeah, but it's like, it's the high orbit atom bomb or something like that basically like shocks the country and like removes all the power. And you're like, yeah, there's no electricity. And you're like, okay, does money matter? Does the currency matter anymore? Like, I'm rich and it's in a computer. Okay, the computer's gone. Does that mean your fortune's gone with it? Does the paper matter? Can we burn it? I mean, in the end, that's going to be what it is, right? Using the paper to either... I mean, oh my God. A future where the only reason that cash is important is so you can wipe your ass with it. Oh, man. Isn't that a hilarious idea? And yet,
well, there's a next gen episode for that. Remember the one where they thaw the people out and the one guy's a stockbroker?
Oh yeah, and he's like,
I mentioned that on that book podcast too. I'm like, hey,
so
that's
much money,
you know,
and
they're trying to tell him, hey, there's no more money. He's like, yeah, I need to call somebody about my portfolio, okay?
Yeah, and they're
this
like,
hippy dippy shit is dumb.
Doesn't
Where
exist, dude. Yeah. Yes. No, and even Star Trek knew then. You know. Yeah, so it's, you know, there's this lesson floating around and you just wonder what point the human race will get it. But maybe the human race can't get it because, you know what, maybe we're just still great apes. Maybe we're just too animal yet to kind of understand that bigger picture where, you know, we live on a spaceship. It's one of the things I love most about Spaceship Earth and Epcot Center. I don't even know if it's there anymore, but the idea that, hey guys, we're on a spaceship. It's called Earth. There's limited resources. It doesn't go on forever. We have to take care of it. And if we just try to kill each other and war and you know, make things important that aren't important, then the ship's not going to make it. I don't know where it's going, but it might get there at some point. And maybe if we start thinking about this planet as a ship that we have to survive on with limited resources, we might do better things. But at this point, no, we're headed for, you know, the environment failing and destroying us. And I mean, did you read anything about this new phenomenon called rain bombs? Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, I saw that. I did see something about that. Yeah.
You know, that shit scared my son. Which is this phenomenon now, which because areas are heating up, you get this phenomenon where the rain, so the there's a lot of heat, so the rain kind of goes up as gas and it gets in the clouds, and then there's still a cold zone, so it hits the cold zone and it comes down, right? But then you get this feedback loop where it starts evaporating, going back up so quickly, and then all of a sudden you just get this pressure pop where you get like hurricane level like winds going straight down, but with rain and hail. But 100-mile-per-hour winds going straight down at the ground and then like hitting the ground and kind of going out in all directions like a bomb. And they can be in very sort of kind of like small localized areas and like ravage it, or they can be kind of big. There's one that hit Houston. I think it was Houston that got hit. That was a series of kind of these rain bombs that all kind of circuited together and just like ravaged the city, broke like all these windows and was blowing cars away. And it's like, yeah, that's where we headed. That's when people are like, global warming isn't real. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But when the rain bomb hits you, you tell me where that's coming from. So I don't know where it's going, but hopefully people will get their heads out of their asses at some point and we'll figure it out. Maybe. I hear crickets on your end.
You know my answer to that. So
I know.
Again, as I've said before, I hope you're right.
I know. Hopefully.
As I said in the Late Night with Stacey Higginbotham, I don't like being like this, so I hope you're right.
No, but the thing is, I think it's important to be a little bit like Joe, because you shouldn't be unaware that things can go very south on you. But then the problem is, I think you also need to be a little bit like me, where you also have the hope that it won't. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to get a balance in there if you can. Too much of anything will kill you. You know what?
I agree that mental balance is important.
You know what I do when I get really sad while we're doing the show? I go over to my JPEGs and I look at the picture of these 3 vampires from 3 the Hard Way. And I think, those are some really good-looking women. Yep. And that's like my moment of zen. And
well, that's good advice.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't fault that procedure.
If that's your prerogative, we've all got to find our 3 is the Hard Way vampires. You know? Yeah. I have that. Did you ever get that GIF, by the way, that I found of the woman from one of the movies we were watching this week? The Empress, whatever.
Oh, yes, I did. Okay,
get it.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I think it got to you later than it meant to, but yes.
Everything gets to be later because I'm not on an iPhone.
Oh, no. But I sent it through, what do you call it? Zoom. Yeah.
Oh, that's why that was... Okay, yeah. I wondered why that showed up weirdly on an... But see? Same thing.
Hey, I know.
I'm going to still tie it back to being on an iPhone. Somehow that always breaks everything. Me being on Android seems to slow everything down, even Zoom.
Dude, you know what?
Because, yeah, I got an alert, and I'm like, why is this coming in now?
my
it was
wife
the middle of
and I,
nowhere.
If we text each other, we're the 2 people whose texts take somewhere from like 2 to 3 hours to get to each other every time. And I'm like, I don't understand, because like we're the 2 people whose texts should get through to each other. And like my son and I, like boom, boom, super quick. I'm like, okay, my wife, no, doesn't matter. I just call her now. You know, I'll call her, and she gets surprised. And she's like, why are you calling? And I'm like, because if I texted you, this would become a whole thing. I'm just going to call you. I'm going to, rather than expect the universe to work the way I want it to, I will accept how the universe is actually working and get on with my fucking day. So, yeah. You got anything else?
No, at an hour and 13 minutes, I can call the programming notes over with.
Good. I'm glad that we got the programming notes done.
But speaking of technology working the way you want it to, I do have something. I just remembered. So I ordered one of the new rounds of Pebble smartwatches. I'm using that term generously because it's not a smartwatch in the traditional sense. And I got it. And man, oh man, do I not miss smartwatches. To go back to this thing, which I have not had to charge for over a week, and it still has over 50% battery. It does all the basics. It's e-ink, so it's readable in the sun. And of all the things, now you don't wear a watch, so this won't matter to you, but anybody who does.
Yeah, fuck time.
Well, I don't disagree, but unfortunately we do live within it. So I have no sense of it, therefore I need assistance. This is one of those areas where I cannot tell the difference between 5 minutes.
Is this the Pebble Round 2 or the Pebble Time 2?
Well, I bought one of each because I like the round form factor better, but I knew it would be later, and I so desperately wanted to be off the Pixel Watch.
Yeah.
That I was like, I'll take the square one for now, even though it has a shape I don't like.
You know why I don't wear a watch? Because I got a fucking phone. Like,
I don't want to have to take my phone out every minute that I need to check something.
I know, but I always like pocket watches more than watches anyway. So for me, it's the same thing.
Well, you could pocket watch that round easy. But anyway, regardless, the thing that really has become the revelation, to use a term that's overused, is magnetic wristwatches. Wristwatch bands. Yeah. They make magnet wristwatch bands where there's no buckle. You don't have to fight with it. It doesn't. You can get it made in whatever you want, and it just you could just so easily adjust it. Because certain times I want it a little looser and a little tighter, and all I have to do is push a little bit, and it's great. And if you are a person who has a smartwatch, because I do like keeping track of certain things, step count is I'm trying to do that because otherwise I'm never going to exercise. It doesn't work. Step count, heart rate, basic stuff, just to make sure nothing weird starts happening and there's no record of it. But also, I do get a lot of emails throughout the day, probably about 50% of which I care about and 50% I don't. And it is nice to just be able to instantly mosquito shoot those things off and zap them right from my watch without having to take the phone out. Because otherwise I'd be taking that fucking phone out all the time to go, no, I don't care about this or this or this or this. Or if I'm driving and I get a text, I can just speak the reply into it without taking my eyes off the road, which is a big deal to me. My car is not smart enough. Yours is, I know. Mine is not.
No, I know, but I don't want my car to be smart enough.
Well, there's the irony. This allows me to not care if my car is smart or not. But I don't have that, so it allows me to do that. But it's this middle ground between not having anything, which is what you want, as far as a watch,
Did I?
and having to have a watch that's so smart you can't fucking go 2 days without charging it, which was my biggest problem.
How I came up with my solution to the road camera? See, and my car came with a roadside camera, not a roadside camera, but a drive cam that's on the windshield, right?
Oh, you got one of those, yeah.
No, it came with the car, and at first they were like, "Oh, you're not gonna really need it," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Like, you don't have to use it if you want to." I'm like, "Okay." And then it got this error where it would start beeping every time I got in the car because it didn't have a USB in it and it wanted a USB so it could record. And I was like, yeah, I don't want it. And they're like, well, we can't shut it off. So you just have to manually shut it off every time you get in the car. And at first I was like, you know what? I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'll turn it off. But then after a few months, I was like, fuck hell. And I remember when I brought my car to get serviced, I was like, is there some way we can shut this down? Or we'll look into it. And they couldn't find a solution to getting this thing to stop beeping at me. They did not know how to do it. So I turned to them.
I could have told you how to do it in about 5 minutes.
Well, you know what I said? I was like, hey, can you just pull the power to it? And the guy was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, go find the fuse and just pull it. And he's like, I can do that if you specifically ask me. And I was like, you have
to sign something probably.
I was like, I am specifically asking you to pull the power on the fucking camera. And now I don't have problems with that camera because it's a fucking brick that doesn't get in my way. And I've realized that, you know what? There's a lot in life that I just want to pull the cord on. Like, I want to figure out if there's what do I got to pull to make it so that my car can't talk to mission control and fucking rat me out.
You could go to a mechanic and get that done easy.
Yeah, see, I'm there. I'm kind of like, let's just pull it. My daughter asked me the other day.
All you have to do is disable the Wi-Fi chip or whatever. I guess it would probably be like it's probably a proprietary.
Yeah, my daughter asked me the other day why my phone and my computer didn't do something automatically, and I said to her, I was like, because I don't want them talking. I was like, I don't want anything talking. I was like, don't don't get together and make a decision about what I'm doing with my data. I want all my devices to be stupid and keep to themselves. I was like, let me do what I want to do, when I want to do it, on what I want to do it with.
Yep.
That's practically a fucking metal song right there.
I agree. So that's why I'm bringing this up, is because the Pebble is kind of that. It does just enough, but there's no reminder. Well, okay, if you tell it to remind you, then it will. There's no, hey, you're so close to your goal. None of that exists on this thing. It doesn't have cellular in it, so you cannot be GPS tracked by anybody. It relies on the phone. So if you shut the phone off, it will still tell the time. It will still count the steps, your heart rate. It'll do all that. It's just not going back to anything. It is basically an air-gapped smartwatch that, depending on how little you use it, they say it could last up to a month without a charge. Mine will probably be about 2 weeks. But even that, compared to every other day guaranteed for a watch that didn't even work that well, I just wanted out of that whole thing, because that's where I'm in this middle between where you are and where most people are, where they want that watch to do everything, and you want no watch. I'm halfway. No. I like the convenience, knowing that there's no strings attached to it. That's the key difference, is because this thing cannot possibly be bought with cellular chips in it. It cannot. There's no GPS. Can't track you. There's no cellular, so there's nothing to phone home to. So literally, if you could use it without a phone after you initially set it up and then just delete it off the phone's Bluetooth. It'll run by itself. It'll just sit there. And it's a nice screen. It's just complicated enough to be able to cut the garbage out of my day, but not start to intrude upon it. So it is something, because it was gone for a while. These were sold for a while, and then Google bought them, completely squandered everything with them, and in a rare case of a large company understanding it was killing something it never intended to have live, it released the patent for the name and everything back to the original creator, who is now making it. It's weird, because even he said, I don't. It's odd.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah. So now it's like a small company, basically. I mean.
Yeah. How?
Yeah.
Why? I'm just so confused.
I'm really not sure.
Anything go?
It's almost like it had to have come in the middle of somebody in the middle of like a child custody battle. Like, assign it, whatever. I don't care. This is not important enough.
Like,
okay, got it.
When does a demon let anything go?
Right? We're going to be talking about an unusual demon later. But I know it's a strange thing. It's a strange thing. So it's something I've told people, if you are not somebody, if you want something where you don't have to take your phone out all the time, because that really does bother me. I really just do not like having to keep going into my pocket, pulling out the phone to delete an email, put it in there, fucking 5 minutes later, there's an alert. And if I can't tell what it is, I don't know if it is important, because once in a while, you do get something important that you have to, look at. I wish I could just say no email is ever going to be important, but that's not the case. It's not, unfortunately, because more of our stuff relies on using an app or an online service. I won't install any apps, so the only way I can be alerted for a lot of this stuff is email or text, because nobody calls you anymore. In fact, they tell you don't listen to a phone call from something saying your phone card's been compromised or whatever, unless you know you did a charge. You know what I mean? They will tell you, we never call you. Okay, well then how the hell do I know if something's going on? So you do have to somewhat rely on that, but it is annoying to see. To me, you're like, oh, just take your phone out. To me, that's the annoyance. That phone should be invisible to me unless I need to use it. Period. Because I don't want to get into the habit of constantly having my fucking phone in my hand, because too many people have that. So the easy way around that is my wrist buzzes, I glance at it, 2 clicks, deleted, and it literally took up 3 seconds compared to take the phone out, click the thing, enter my long passcode because I'm security conscious, then open the app, wait for it to load, email, stupid, swipe. That's like half a minute. Now, half a minute's nothing until you do it every 5 minutes it's just stupid. Stupid. So that's where I am. And the Pebble has filled that particular niche for me, because it is a stupid smartwatch, which is exactly what I want. And like I said, my biggest problem reading watches is in the daylight, because I, unlike a lot of people, have a very good aversion to staring at screens at night. I'm good at not doing that. So, because it's e-ink, and of course I turn it off at night too. It's the other thing. I don't wear it to bed. I don't do the sleep tracking. I don't care. I know if I slept. If I start having problems sleeping, my wife will say, hey, you're making weird noises and you're spitting up blood. Okay, got it. I'll go to the doctor. So, I'm okay on the sleep thing. So, 4 o'clock every day, I power that thing off, put it down, forget about it. But it's nice to have it. So, again, for anybody who doesn't want an Apple Watch or a Pixel Watch, which both have their problems, but you want something more than having to take your phone out of your pocket all the time, it's a consideration. It's something to look at. It may be the right fit for you. Because the only reason I came off Pebble to begin with is because Google absorbed them and destroyed them, and my watch started failing. It just wasn't able to be updated to work with my phone. That's why I went to the Pixel Watch in the first place. I didn't want to go off Pebble, but I didn't have a choice. Now that it's come back, I bought 2 of them in case that when one breaks, I got another one. And I think the battery's even replaceable. So I think it is a repairable watch. I don't know that I'd have the skill to do it, but I could if I needed to. So just something I wanted to bring up because I've had it for now a week and a half. And it's done everything I wanted it to. It hasn't had any... I'll tell you what the biggest thing, the Pixel thing, which initially I thought this was a good thing, but boy, oh boy, was this the worst possible thing, was to put cellular on it. Not because of the tracking thing even, but because it would inevitably try to answer calls on the watch.
On the Pixel?
On the Pixel, not this one. This one can't do it. Yeah. This one, no GPS, no cellular. Impossible. There's no chips. That's why it's not, $400, $500 either. So, just something to consider if anybody's looking for something like that, because I don't know how many people are aware the company even has been resurrected. A lot of people really liked these things when they were out.
The fact that it went back to them, that shit just...
yeah,
that's like
nobody ever... When that company died, they all said, that's it.
That's the most interesting detail of this story for me. The watch sounds great for people who want that kind of thing. It's great. But that right there, to me, is like, whoa. They did what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because the original version of the Pebble was back from 2012. And I had a couple of the original ones, which are very much the same, except the bezels were immense. Whereas this one now, the screen is bigger, which is good because I'm older. My eyesight, which has never been good, sucks more. And the what do you call it? The founder's idea is that their version of a smartwatch does 4 things.
Yeah.
Notifications, tells the time, what do you call it? Has to be readable, and 4th has to have physical buttons so that you don't have to look at it, that you can memorize and set your buttons and do it by memory. Calls coming in, you just hit a button and it sends the voicemail without having to look at it, which you can't do with the other ones. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't remember the circumstances, but I just remember that, Google owned it, and they asked for the name and the thing back, and they were giving it. Yeah. And I really think it was a rare case where Google realized they were never going to do anything with it. And they, sorry. So what I should say is Google open sourced the OS. And that's what allowed them to do it. And then they were able to get the name. Yeah. So, and it's been dead for 10 years. So to bring it back is fantastic.
Yeah, it's just, and the fact that they got the name back, they have the software, they made the device, and it's out there and it's alive, like.
Yeah, and I have one of the first ones because I was in the first. I ordered it instantly as soon as it was available. I'm like, yep, I'm getting it, and I thought it might be a little rough. It's not. It's very well made as far as I can tell. The only thing a lot of people have said is that the display scratch is easy. You know what? I'll get a protector for it. It's fine. That's one of the least of my problems. So I'm happy the thing is back. Because I hated the Pixel. And I don't have an iPhone, so even if I was to consider it an Apple Watch, it would be impossible. But I wouldn't even consider it. I don't want that either. So, once in a while, a good piece of tech dies and is able to come back and not be...
able to come back.
And there's no subscriptions. There's nothing. You buy it and it's yours. That's it. There's no... I haven't even gotten an email from them about it. Nothing. Since, hey, we got to do... No. I go and check to see if it gets updated. Oh no, it does tell you. It says if there's when it checks, it does check it's through its software to make sure there's an update because they are fixing things. It is. There are a couple things that the old version could do. They haven't got to work on the new one yet, but nothing essential. Because it did have a more advanced send text thing where it could work with different apps.
The software that they're using anymore. Because
no, it's open source, which is good because everybody can see it. That means anybody can look at the code and make sure nothing weird is going on.
God, there's just so much weird in that. Like,
isn't it? It's such a strange product.
We talk about how no company leaves money on the table. This feels like money on the table.
Well, my hunch.
God, you should email that guy and ask him if he'll talk to you.
It's probably not a bad idea. He seems pretty open, so I might do it. I mean, he seems fairly grounded for a person of his type. So I wouldn't have a problem doing it. And you know what? I will. Actually, you know what? I will. I will email him this week and see if he'd be willing to come on. Would you want to be part of that, or is that no?
Oh no, I don't know this. I don't know the technology.
I didn't. You seem to express a micron of interest, so I thought, maybe.
I'm curious, and I look forward to your report. But I mean, I don't want to talk to people. That's the conundrum with the two of us. You have no hope, yet you like to talk to people. I have hope, but I have no interest in people. So
it is a paradox. But yeah, it's like I said, to have a product that does not appear predatory.
Yeah.
I mean, things could change, but again, because it can't be reached externally, if you didn't, it's kind of like I've gotten to a point now where I'm never going to un-airplane mode my Kindle again. I've decided I'm cutting that off from Amazon. I will manage it myself. Thank you. So it will never go online again.
My question about that, so do they have a system built in there where if your system doesn't check in, it basically locks itself out? No.
But, again, to go back to Stacey Higginbotham, gave a good tip. This came up during the book club show. I mentioned that whole thing about wanting to just to nuke Amazon's connection to everything because I've basically canceled all the Amazon stuff at this point.
Yeah.
She said, make sure you go in there and delete the Wi-Fi information because they can remotely activate it.
Oh, wow.
So I went, oh, okay. Well, I did that. I immediately, right after that show, I got the Kindle and I went in and I deleted everything. And in fact, I added the MAC of it to the block list on my router so that nothing can reach it. So I'm managing everything through Caliber now. It's just, I'm doing it all through that. I'm buying my books through Bookshop, which gives DRM-free versions of them. So you just get an EPUB or whatever of it. That's how I read that book. I bought it through Bookshop, loaded it with a cable.
And you know what?
I know, archaic.
But no. My wife does something now where she borrows ebooks from libraries.
Yeah, Overdrive.
That's
or
still an option.
There's another one. There's Overdrive and there's Libby. Libby might be the other
Libby.
one.
I think it's Libby. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are options, and then there's me who still likes to read physical books.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I know that. It's just
but this is more the point of, again, this is what the Pebble is a similar thing. The Kindle, bifurcated off of or separated, I should say, from Amazon, is a wonderful e-reader. It really is. It's a great e-reading device. The thing that sucks about it is Amazon. So, but it's very easy to not need Amazon. And again, that's delete your Wi-Fi stuff, put it into airplane mode, never take it off. You won't have a security issue because it can't be reached unless somebody takes your Kindle and I guess hacks it. But if it's disconnected from Amazon, what are they getting? Your books? What are they going to get about you? Nothing. It's an e-reader. It doesn't do it. It's not a computer.
But they can, I don't know, get it back to your account in Amazon?
They can't do... What account? You're cut off from Amazon. See what I'm saying?
That's true.
What are they going to get to? Yeah. The worst they might find out is, this guy likes Lady Chatterley novels. Well, so what? That shit's tame in today's world anyway. So who cares? But that, again, for somebody who doesn't want to be quite as disconnected as Lando is, but not as connected as many other people are, if you fall into that middle ground where somebody like me is...
Such insults saying that I'm disconnected.
That's a statement of fact, and you know it. You fucking know it. Don't pretend it ain't that way. It is that way. Like I said, the Pebble, you may have remembered it and thought it wasn't back. So.
It's funny, too, because I don't think of myself as being disconnected. But, like, I was talking to someone the other day about something, and they were like, well, you know, it must be hard for you to go back on the grid. And I was like, I don't feel like I'm off the grid. I'm just not...
Don't believe one fucking word out of your mouth, bro.
I just don't feel like I'm using all these useless programs that people feel the need to use. You know?
Well, in the modern day, that's the same thing.
I suppose.
It is. If you're not always connected, you are a Luddite to most people. Look, when I tell people I don't keep apps on my phone unless I'm specifically using them, the looks I get, and I'm far more connected than you are in terms of technology. And that statement alone, people are, what, you're always deleting and reinstalling and deleting? That sounds very tiring. I'm like, okay. It isn't to me. It's a very easy way to keep my phone clean. Because they want you having that app sitting there because it's collecting data all the time.
Yeah.
So just remove it until you need it. I do it all the time. It's not hard, and everything installs in 2 seconds and deletes in 2 seconds. So what is really the effort?
It's funny. It's just that you desperately don't want to have to reach into your pocket to pull out your phone, and yet you'll reinstall all fucking apps. It's funny.
Well, see, but it does though make sense because what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep the time I'm interacting with the phone.
Yep. Everybody has
to
their
specific moments.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's because eventually. And I have seen this happen with people, and I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
You see them, the more things they're doing with the phone, the more they just get used to having it in their hand all the time. All the time. Because everything's funneled through the phone. So if you introduce friction, you have to then be more, and I hate using this word, but it's the right one, mindful of when you're using it. And so I think the friction makes you aware and makes you prioritize the usage.
I want to do that thing where they oh man, somebody's joking around about making a phone case that weighs like 6 pounds, 7 pounds. Like it basically is like a weight attached to it. So whenever you pick up the phone, like you feel the metaphor.
See, and I'm there because I'm used to the watch having the notification. So the phone is a physical. I mean, no, it's not 6 pounds, but I'm like, oh, okay. Ugh. You know, I mean, literally, it's you can see that I've had people say, "Wow, you really hate taking your phone out of your pocket," because I get this look on my face like, "Fuck," and because it bothers me, because I don't want to become one of those people, because they're everywhere and they drive me crazy. I mean, my wife and I were watching a baseball game earlier. If you ever watch baseball or any sport, look at the audience. Or the spectators, I should say. It's not like an audience. It's not play. Look at the spectators and see how many of them are staring at their lap.
Baseball games can be really boring.
I said any sport because I've seen it in football too. And football is supposedly most exciting of all sports.
Is it?
I don't know. That's what Americans think.
You know what sport I have found to be the most interesting to me?
Yeah.
Women's softball.
For me, it's women's pool.
You know what? I think we're both thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I don't ever look at my phone when I'm watching women's pool, and I'm in the YouTube thing, and I'm commenting. I'm donating to them.
I don't even think I like women's softball. I just like watching women's softball. Can that be a thing?
It can. I like watching women play pool. Because the vindictiveness is missing. And that's what I like about women as opposed to men. Men are competitive beasts.
There's plenty of vindictive competitive
Well, that's
women.
what you're watching. In pool, it's not that way. Yes, obviously in the match, they're trying to win. Don't get me wrong. They're not soft hitting things. But they don't. You watch men's pool and watch women's pool, and it is different. Because there's not. Posturing isn't there. The macho bullshit ain't there. They're just trying to be as good at what they're doing as possible. And when like somebody accidentally does something, if it's not serious, they don't lose their head. They don't flip out. There's none of that shit. They're just like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It doesn't affect the game. Just keep going. Nobody has a fit. Nobody gets their hackles up. You know?
I know, but
nice.
I always feel like with a lot of American television, they want that. It's the whole day.
I agree, and that's why
TV.
I mean, like women's pool
They want people to
is one that
freak the fuck out.
Oh yeah, I agree. This is what I'm saying. So that's why I like women's pool. To me, is one of the most relaxing things that I can enjoy from every angle. I just like it generally. The commentators, they're not all high-tech professionals. Sometimes they screw up the stream and they don't realize they're on mute. You know, it's great because it feels more ground level. The only bad thing about women's pool, the only bad thing, is they never make it to the West Coast. It's generally middle to East Coast of the country, which is a shame. Because I'd go in a heartbeat. I find
that on the Olympics, one of the things that drives me the most crazy is the commentary. We're like,
it's the worst.
They just won't shut up, and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to pay attention to some really
Everybody
cool shit
has
here.
a touching personal story of person. Let's play the video.
There's that one skater whose parents had died, and they're like, oh, he's skating and he's thinking of his dead parents. His dead mom is in the sky. I don't know that he is. And he's thinking of her as he skates because his parents are dead. I'm like, how many times are they going to mention this skater's dead parents just to make sure that I'm very aware that his parents are not with us? Like,
little orphan skater Johnny. He's doing it for his mom. She's looking down at him. We all know she is. And she's smiling. And his dad is hugging his mom in heaven with their wings. And I don't know that they're not, but Jesus Christ, man.
God.
You know?
But it's that level, yeah.
It is that level. And listen, as somebody who knows a few athletic people who play at various levels, I have asked some of these people when they have these terrible moments that happen, are you thinking about that when you're playing? And almost uniformly, the answer is no. I think about them before. I think about them after. When I'm playing, I have to focus on what I'm doing. Totally. Or I will fail at it. I can't be sitting there miserable because something bad happened, or I will not be able to perform. No kidding. That's just obvious. But these things, like you said, have to craft a narrative. Jimmy Smith from Pensacola, Kansas, used to have to drag his face across gravel every morning because he was left his parents' farm and they couldn't afford a plow, so he had to plow the dirt with his teeth. And that's why he had to have his face fixed. But now here he is in front of this audience and his whole family and every chicken they ever owned that they had to slaughter to eat, even though they'd named them and had them as pets. They're all looking down and they're all smiling and God's light is beaming down and all this stuff. And you're like, okay, man, I think he's just trying to make sure he lands a triple axel, right? I mean, I think that's what he's focused on. Not whether Uncle Judy is really proud of him. He'll think about that before, or he'll just know it. He doesn't have to think about it. Or if he fails, will they be proud of him? That's the thing too. That success, the pride, the wherever they are in this has to be on whether he succeeds or not. Oh, shut up. Let him do what he's doing. If people want to know his story, you can mention it and drop it. But God, it's all just syrupy TLC nonsense.
If I can watch the international feed, I often will because they just shut up.
So much better.
Yeah. Just shut up and let it happen.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
how the hell did we even get onto this? I don't remember.
It doesn't matter. Here we are.
How did we get to the Olympics? Oh, because women's pool. So yeah, I love women's pool. The Women's Professional Billiards Association. They're awesome. If you watch their stuff, it's just produced enough. I've watched it long enough to see them going from 720p webcam quality because they couldn't figure out how OBS worked, which many people in the chat are like, try this. And they're like, oh, good, that does work. It's great. And now their streams look really nice, but they're not to the point where, they're not layering on the soup. And some of the commentators, and if they ever become big, this will go away because it will have to. But some of those commentators are savage people, and I love them. Like there's one that just calls out stupid people in the chat, and I'm like, man, if you were big time, you could not do that. You would be told, no, every viewer is valuable. You can't possibly risk offending it. No, they don't have that right now. So if you have any interest, jump in now because it's still somewhat Wild Westy, just enough, without being a complete train wreck. So, or women's, what was it you watch? Softball? Softball's good.
Softball. Yeah.
If you
I'm just impressed with the female sport excellence. That's
I was going to be a little bit more specific and say, if you appreciate women with powerful legs, softball's a good sport to watch. I mean, powerful.
Yeah,
everything.
and you know what? Was it Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano had a 17-second fucking match?
Yeah.
Yes, apparently Gina Carano has been. I was reading an article about how, like, after the loss of Mandalorian, she kind of went into this depression and she kind of let herself go. And it's sad, and yet at the same time, it's like, yeah, but Disney told you to shut the fuck up. That they didn't want you talking a lot of shit, and you would still be on in the Star Wars universe. I was like, you kind of did this to yourself. But anyway, and then it was hilarious because Ronda Rousey came out of retirement for one of these. These aren't real matches. I mean, they are, but these are. Oh God, who's the guy who fought Mike Tyson?
Was that Paul Logan or whatever?
Yeah, Paul Logan.
Was?
Yeah, Paul Logan.
Yeah.
Paul Logan's company makes a shit ton of money out of setting these kind of
these garbage celebrity exhibition.
Yeah,
matches.
yeah, exactly. And it's just the drama of it, right? But the joke is that
stupid.
Ronda Rousey just armbarred her in about 17 seconds,
Of
which
course.
is what she always did before she decided to stop using the armbar. I feel bad because when you play a video game and there's one move that you just become exceptionally good at, you'll remember this. And then you realize that there's almost no point to doing anything else because you're so good at it. And the mistake that Ronda Rousey made was thinking, I'll try something else. And then she got her ass kicked. It's like, no, honey. Stick to the armbar. You're amazing at it. You could armbar God. Just keep doing the armbar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she wrecked Gina Carano, and I was like, well, there you go. And you know what? They probably all made money on it and went laughing to the
I'm
bank.
sure. Of course they did.
And no one got their face smashed in, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, was it Logan said that, was it after his match with Anthony Joshua? He may not actually be boxing anymore because Anthony Joshua did break his fucking jaw. So
Paul Logan got injured, you saying?
Paul Logan.
Well, you know what my response is to that?
Good, fuck him.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, Mike Tyson was how old when he fought him?
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua is not that far off. Like, he's still a viable and dangerous boxer. Not that I want to get hit by Mike Tyson. Let's be very clear about that.
No,
I'm sure
no.
Mike Tyson still hits like a freight train, but in the world of boxing, he is an older man.
Sure.
Right? Whereas Anthony Joshua is still fucking immense.
Yeah.
So, I hope it was worth the money.
Like I said, I don't care because if it comes to Paul Logan, then I'll say again.
Good, fuck him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just you.
You're right. These are all garbage.
Yeah, I just pay attention to kind of the weird
spectacle.
intricacies of it, because you kind of sit there and go, okay, what's next? What's your next spectacle? Are you gonna who are you gonna fight now? Well, he's gonna fight anybody because his jaw's busted.
Yeah, good.
But
God, if only
it's like they
forever.
got Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey to get trained up to fight. Well, what do you do after this? And this goes back to the larger issue of the spectacle. I mean, to bring a movie back that we haven't talked about in a while, which is Megapolis. There's this whole part of Megapolis which is about how you use the spectacle to distract the masses. Right? Spectacle is so important. We need it. There's so many of us in this society that need spectacle to live.
Yeah.
And you know what? This guy, Logan or Jake, whatever the fuck his name is, he's figured it out. People like spectacle. They make a lot of money off of it. Even though, these aren't, boxing league matches. They don't really mean anything in the big picture. It's just, it's like, don't you want to see Godzilla fight, King Kong? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And people eat it up. I just find it funny that it lasted 17 seconds.
Yeah, that is wild. Yeah. That used to be the case with Tyson too. Remember, fights would be over in under a minute because somebody didn't know what they were fucking with.
Oh my God, he was a freight train. Jesus,
He was. Those were the best matches because I didn't pay $10,000 to sit in Madison Square Garden. I was watching on TV, and I'm like,
you were watching it
demolished.
on somebody else's. You're watching it on somebody else's pay-per-view.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it did. It at one point I remember, because when he was in his prime, I remember going to. There was a guy who lived on our street who always had nice TV for the time and everything, but after I think 3 of those types of matches, when we'd go there to watch, well, we'd have what we're going to watch after 2 minutes when the match is over, and we'd either have a game set up that we were going to play or whatever, because we knew it wasn't going to last, and that was for a while.
Didn't they usually,
if Tyson comes in?
Yeah, didn't they usually have a few matches set up?
Oh, yeah. But in other words, look, we didn't really care about the ones that came before, as most people didn't. You were kind of not paying attention until Tyson showed up. And then it was like, okay, we did it. I remember a couple we bet on whether it would even make 5 minutes. And in almost every case, it never did. And so it was, okay, who's the closest? You'd pick some amount of time. And you put $5 on it. But that was the joke. And then there was a point where he started, I think it was after his, it may have been after his trainer died or something. I don't remember. But then, then.
Oh, yes. When his trainer died, his style changed.
And then the legal stuff and everything else. But before that, I mean, he was unbelievable. And I'm not a boxing person.
Neither
really.
Am I. But I
But when you see a force of nature in human form,
well, I mean,
it is amazing.
But the thing is, in any sport, when you see somebody who excels to a humongous degree, you can look at that person and go, okay, that's really impressive.
But also, what made boxing, again, at this time, and when I was younger, when I was into comics and everything more, he looked like a supervillain. Because he was, that's one of the few things where you see somebody.
Well, he was
all they're wearing
boss.
is shorts.
He was the boss in a Nintendo game.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. But that's the thing is, in most sports, you don't necessarily see the muscles all the time. But like, he looked like what we see superheroes, where you could see every muscle on him, and you knew he was just waiting to uncork that fist.
Before they started pumping it into movies,
Exactly.
Think about it. When he was in his boxing prime, the only really big muscly guys you got were like Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Who else? Dolph Lundgren, maybe movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the Rocky movies, but beyond that.
Well, he was Drago, so yeah.
Yeah, but like, who else?
But that's the thing is,
who was a regular?
Tyson was the real life Drago.
Yeah.
Whereas most things in movies, they're not. There's nobody really like that. But then you'd see him, and it's, oh, Jesus Christ! As soon as he gets an opening, your face is going to separate from the rest of your body, and he did. They just knock your ass down, and that's it.
I'm curious.
Like I said,
who the muscle actors of the '80s were considered?
Oh, Stallone would definitely be one of them.
It's definitely
Arnold.
Stallone, but yeah, it's let's see.
Yeah, I mean, it would Dolph Lundgren after
Dolph Lundgren. Some people say Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, the muscles from Brussels, sure.
and then I mean, Apollo Creed. I mean, yeah, Carl Weathers.
Yeah. I mean, you get to see his arms pretty good in Predator.
But here you go. This is amusing. So this is a list of action stars in the '80s, right?
Sure.
So, Burt Reynolds, no muscles. Eddie Murphy, no muscles. Chuck Norris, very fit,
muscles,
but not a big guy. He was martial arts
prowess. I mean, people know him from fighting Bruce Lee. So
exactly. No, but martial arts fit. But like Steven Seagal, Steven Seagal was not a big guy. Tall guy, but not a big guy.
No, yeah, he was kind of wiry.
Yeah. Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, Clint Eastwood, Mel Gibson, Bruce Willis. I mean, a lot of these action stars were not big dudes.
Well, Temple of Doom, I think Harrison Ford got in better shape because he was shirtless and jacked for a while there.
He looks healthy. He's not jacked. And then compare that.
He's got pretty good arms in that movie.
Compare that to today, when if you want to do like any movie, they're like, okay, we need you on like a load of steroids for 6 months, and then we're going to train you up so that you're the most jacked IT guy ever. And you're like, yeah, but I don't need to be. Like, why would I be a jacked, It's like you need to be the
realistically, the only movie star of the time. Now, I want to frame this very specifically. Assuming you knew nothing about what skill level they actually had.
Yeah.
So whether you knew they were in movies or not. So let's pretend you didn't know they were movie stars. But let's take the big 5 of what your list was there, right? The only one that if I saw this person's body and then a picture of Tyson, and they were fighting that I would think would have a chance, knowing nothing about them, would be Arnold. I'd be like, okay, yeah, that guy might take his ass out.
No,
Again, I know Arnold doesn't know boxing.
Yeah, he would have kicked
But
Arnold's
assuming-
ass hard.
Well, of course, because Arnold's not a boxer. What I'm saying is you have to erase that knowledge. And if you looked at a picture of all
just
these guys...
based on, like, your adolescent self,
the
looking at
physicality.
superheroes, you'd be like, oh,
you
he's so
would
big.
presume that Arnold, if he had speed, could be... I'm not saying he'd even win, but he could take a few rounds.
Who's the guy?
None of the rest of them.
Who's the guy who did the Hercules movies?
Oh, the Hulk?
No, it was somebody like that. What the fuck is his name?
Who did? Wait, which Hercules? Oh, you mean like not Kevin Sorbo?
Classic Hercules movies from like the 70s.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name. I know who you mean.
Name? Oh God, what was his name? I can't find it. Whatever.
But I know who you mean.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, dude, I just found a picture of Steven Seagal in some of like the early movies that he did, and like he looks lanky. He looks lanky compared to Van Damme. That's funny.
Lithe. I would use the word lithe for him.
Yeah, so
he's slimmy.
It is amusing to me the degree to which we have made it so that everybody has to be jacked in movies, whereas like some of the in the real world, like when you get outside of bodybuilding, right? Some of the athletes that we see in sports and things like that are never hugely jacked. They're always jacked enough for what they do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's a different format. It's why Arnold's body changed when he did Conan.
You know what?
Conan Arnold and bodybuilder Arnold look slightly different.
Oh, very different. Yeah, very different. Yeah, because one was more for show.
Yeah,
as opposed to more movement. But
bodybuilding is basically showing that every muscle is magnificent on your body.
To actually invert my scenario, if you took a professional welterweight and put them in a ring with Stallone at his physical height, Stallone's going to go down like a sack of potatoes in one round.
Well, because he's an actor.
Because the welterweight knows how to fight.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's a quarter of his size. He's going to know how to connect with the body and the face, and Stallone's going to fall down. And that's your point about, at that time, there were action heroes of various physical form.
Steve Reeves.
So you could have...
Steve Reeves. That was one of the guys.
Oh, okay,
in the 50s, 58. He was the guy who was the the big bustle man of the age. Well,
it's the Seagal thing, right? At the time we were watching those movies when Seagal wasn't a lunatic, you had no problem believing he was as much an action star as Arnold. He's just a different type. But now you can't do that. Nobody can be. Nobody is Slimmy anymore. They all got to be superpowered.
You know, this is an interesting. This is an interesting thing. I found this article. It's GQ Australia, and the article is kind of pointless, but they're talking about like 17 really great physiques from movie history. But what's interesting to me is the progression, right? So you start with Steve Reeves and Hercules. Steve Reeves was a really physically fit guy, but there wasn't really any steroids yet. He was big, but he wasn't like that insane big. You know what I mean? And then you get people like Bruce Lee, 1973. Bruce Lee, ultra toned, ultra lithe.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's body was just a fucking missile, right? Yeah. But then, 1982, you get Conan Arnold. And this is a smaller Arnold than bodybuilding Arnold. But still, I mean, he is Conan, right? Huge body, right? And then 83, right? So 1 year later, you get Lou Ferrigno as Hercules. Which, by the way, I mean, he looks like fucking Hercules. I think
listen, man.
Yeah?
Look, did you have any trouble when you were younger buying him as the Hulk?
No, not in any way. Yeah.
Done. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
But what's funny is that then you see Sylvester Stallone in Rambo First Blood Part 2, right?
Oh,
1985, right? And what I like about him in that movie is that he's not bodybuilder jacked. There is like, he's jacked, but there's like a functionality to his body. He doesn't look like he's like, he doesn't look like he's
He doesn't look sculpted out of marble.
He doesn't look like he's massively overjuiced. You know what I mean? And then, like, you get Carl Weather in 1985, the same year, right? And still jacked. I mean, I can send you this article because, I mean, he looks fucking... He looks genuinely
I'll tell you a funny
impressive.
thing that I was talking to somebody who was younger about Predator, who had just seen it. And if you remember when Carl Weathers gets caught by the Predator, right, when his arm is off, and he unslings the gun and he starts firing, there's a wide shot of him. And this person said, yeah, it's weird because he's got really big arms, but he's got this gut. And it's because
it's
he
the muscle
he
gut.
exhales and his stomach looks normal
Yeah.
because they're used to the Marvel version. And I'm like, that's not a gut.
No, yeah.
You understand how fit he is, right?
Yeah, so here's
Jesus.
the thing. When you work your abdominals a lot, they get big. They get
Yes.
big like any muscle in your body. And when you, like, basically, like, if I tense my ab muscles, really tense them like I'm ready for a punch or something like that, they get big. Of course they get big, because it's a big fucking muscle. And that's how I make it so I don't get hernias. When I lift heavy things, I have big abdominal muscles that are doing the job. But he looks amazing in Carl Weathers and Rocky. But what's funny is that in 1991, one of the impressive bodies from that year is Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
She was so fucking jacked in that movie, and she was impressive. And I would say that she's almost like Bruce Lee impressive in that movie, right? But then, here's the weird turn. We get Brad Pitt in Fight Club. And Brad Pitt in that movie is just a skinny dude.
Yeah.
That's it. Right?
Yep.
And then we get Christian Bale in American Psycho, who was extremely fit, but really just kind of skinny. Right? We're kind of stepping, we seem to be stepping back away from the overly jackedness. Now we're looking for almost kind of like the really trim fit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what comes next? Chris Evans in Captain America.
Right.
And Chris Evans is huge. He is massive. You know, and that, I think, sets the trend. Because after that, you get stuff like The Rock and Zac Efron in Baywatch, where they both look unhealthily big. You get Hugh Jackman in The Wolverine, where, listen, that movie is kind of okay. But, I mean, his body is so fucking wacky. I mean, he is a comic book character in that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think he was what it is, like his 50s, and he looks like that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But like when you learn what these people have to do to look like that veiny look, where like you can see every muscle, like the dehydration they have to go through. It's so artificial, and what ends up happening is it creates this expectation, like you said, of what people are supposed to look like in the real world. So that when Carl Weathers breathes, someone goes, "Oh, Carl Weathers is fat." I'm like, "Motherfucker, he's not fat."
Yeah.
Yes,
even though in the same movie where you in the first 10 minutes you see his arm in Arnold's when they do that hand thing and his arm
the universe.
is bristling with fucking musculature, and you have the warped brain. And again, not insulting, but it's because they became used to this idea that because a part of his body does not look distendedly abnormally recessed and chiseled, it's weird.
What people want now is they want this giant upper body with huge arms, and then they want this tiny little waist, because that's kind of this format that Marvel did, where like all these people have these tiny little waists, and it's like, but that's not what. If you are really physically active, you're not going to have a tiny little waist.
Look, here's what it is, everybody. Here's what people want. Look up, and there's a cartoon character named Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo.
Yep.
I knew that's where
that's what they want. That
just
is
happen to
abnormal.
be a superhero.
Exactly. And it's like, no, people do not look like that, everyone. They just don't.
No, but they do, because if you look up Thor, the first Thor movie, right?
Well,
he
okay,
looks like
but
Johnny
what I'm
Bravo.
saying is they don't naturally look like that. They don't organically look like that unless they have some particular genetic setup, and I'm sure somebody in nature has looked like that, but it's not typical.
Actually, I'll tell you what's amusing, right?
Well,
is if you
before you go on,
go ahead.
Let me just add this.
200 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Later.
If you look at Chris Hemsworth in what was that movie that we watched with
I was going to say the Perfect Getaway.
So look at him in Perfect Getaway, right? And then look at him in the first Thor movie, right, where he's really big and then he has this tiny little waist. But then look at him in Thor: Love and Thunder, that big nude scene where and his waist is bigger.
Yeah,
like there is more to him because he's become more of a fitness guy. But even he's still trying to maintain this Johnny Bravo look because he is still an actor, and there is this expectation that
And I'm sure he'll do it for a while, and then like Hugh Jackman, he'll be like, "I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of it."
Well, I mean,
do this forever.
what's his name? The Rock. The Rock is finally slowing down. A little
Yeah, it's about to. I mean, I'm sure there's.
Listen,
look, age catches up to you. That's
Listen,
all it is.
he is going to be physically fit. That's not
Sure.
only not changing, but no, he can't be.
But he will not look like an animated cartoon of himself
No,
soon.
he can't be. He can't be Johnny Bravo anymore.
Nope.
None of us can.
No.
Listen.
Certainly
You know whose body I'm most impressed with in a movie. If there was like an award for most impressive body in a movie of recent release,
Sure.
Ray Fiennes did a movie where he played Odysseus, and I was so impressed with how he got jacked for that movie because it wasn't.
We talked about this.
Yeah, we did. It wasn't a.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Marvel superhero thing. He wanted to basically look like what a warrior who had gone
A warrior
through,
of the time period would look
yeah,
like.
who had gone through many, many years of battle would look like. And they gave him this. He did the work, but they gave him this very ropey but very muscular body that looks like somebody who, he was repeatedly punching, kicking, fighting, and And I thought
It's
he looked
ruggedly
great.
powerful.
Yeah, he looks fantastic. Mm-hmm. And he did the work for it. And I mean, his body totally sells me on being an old Odysseus in that movie.
Yeah.
Especially since they give him the he's got the kind of long hair and everything. I mean,
Yeah,
it's funny
he's
too because
rough
Matt
looking.
Damon is coming out with the new
The Odyssey.
Odyssey movie with what's his name, Nolan.
Nolan. Yeah,
And
Nolan.
and I look at Matt Damon and I'm like, Matt Damon, you're pretty good, but I mean Ray Fiennes did such a
it's
good
not. It's
job.
no comparison.
Yeah, it's like he did such, and the thing that I love about him is he didn't try to make the whole. They didn't try to make the whole thing. They're like, I want to make a movie about when he gets back, just the end of the book.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I still think that's really impressive. And you know what? Maybe it's impressive because how old is he right now? Let's see, Ray Fiennes' age.
Oh, 50 something, right? Has to
He's
be.
older than that. He's older.
Think so?
than
60s?
that. Yeah.
I thought it was like 58.
63. 63.
Wow,
And
alright.
that movie came out, a year ago? So he's going to be like 61, 60 when he made that,
Yeah.
right?
Right around there.
If I could look that good at that age, I would be amazed.
Sure. Yeah.
Hell,
if I could look that good at this age, I'd be amazed. Well, not amazed. I'd be happy.
Sorry,
I should say
I've
that way.
never read this before.
Yeah.
Oh my God. In 07, Ray Fiennes was embroiled in a scandal after it came out that he had sex with a Qantas flight attendant on a flight from Sydney to Mumbai. It was established that the pair had sex in the plane's lavatory.
Was she underage?
No, she was a flight attendant.
The fuck do I care then? What scandal is this?
I
Anyway.
guess what I mean. It's like, so a famous actor.
So normal
was,
people can join the Mile High Club, but Ray Fiennes can't. Okay.
Yeah,
I got it.
she was suspended and later terminated because apparently,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
she-
I mean,
Well,
I guess,
no,
she was
no,
violent.
hold
Yeah,
on.
that's true.
Listen, if you
Okay,
got
yeah.
caught fucking on the job,
Wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
Do flight attendants get breaks during their flights?
I don't know how long.
If they do, and she was on break,
I
I'm
was
sorry,
on break.
wrongful termination.
I was on break with
Hold
Ray
on, let's
Fiennes
see.
in the bathroom.
Do flight attendants get breaks? Because I imagine it was probably a long flight. How do cabin break periods? Here it is. Cabin crew for a long hauls, if it was a long haul, get 1 to 3.5 hours of rest in designated rest areas. Well, if she was on a rest
There you
area,
go. She
a
was
rest
on
break,
designated rest in the bathroom with Ray
Yep.
Fiennes.
I don't want to hear it. That's fucking double standard bullshit.
Sydney to Mumbai, that's a long flight. Yeah, so yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. She needed to alleviate
good
the
for him.
stress, and there's much worse ways to do it.
Good for him. And he looks great.
Her stress
in
reliever
his
was
60s.
doing Ray fine. Good for her. Good for her.
Anyway, I guess we have movies to talk about.
We do. Yeah.
We do. And we probably should get to them because we passed the 2 hour mark, and these are not simple
probably
movies
should.
to get through.
I mean, even though, all right, we're going to start with the. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Are you giving me what's the order?
The order. We're going to do the most interesting one last. The other two we'll do in order. And you know what's the most interesting one is?
I think I
Where's
know what
my
you're talking
movie?
about,
Oh, you know. Where's
know.
the? Oh, we watched a movie. I forgot that's what I titled it. Based on 2 out of the 3 movie. We'll do this one.
Just give me the essence of the thing, the juice, you know.
Boom, 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 boom,
You shut the fuck up!
Thanks for killing my mom.
Hey, no problem.
My mom.
It don't make no sense. No. It's Italian.
Rip-off edition is what this should be titled. So I want to lay something out for everybody because this is one of the things that if you remember back before Orlando and I were watching movies together, if you've been around for that long, you may remember that at times I would recount a film. And I would tell Lando, oh man, you should watch this, watch this. And he would respond with something along the lines of, oh, I actually have a lot of fun, maybe more fun listening to you tell the story of it.
Oh, I do. And I stand by that. I still love the Italian juice versions of these movies that you give me.
Yeah. But there is a thing that, even if I recount these movies, what is not necessarily clear in my recountment of them is, particularly when it comes to the Italian ripoff film, a sparkling, beautiful, golden genre all its own, is me telling the story of it does not necessarily properly translate to how much of a ripoff these films are.
No,
it will sound like, oh, they've lifted a few things, but until you see it.
Shame that we didn't record this, only because I laughed. Oh God, I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard for these 2 movies. I mean, so hard.
Yeah.
Because, oh man, yeah, just
well, all right. So let's we're gonna go in a slightly different order than we watched them because we're gonna put the first movie we watched at the end, just in case anybody cares about order. But this was your pick, so we'll start with your pick, which was a 1979 film, Italian film, titled The Humanoid. So explain for the audience, since you picked this one, what is The Humanoid? Please explain, if you can.
So
perhaps use another popular film as a relatable touch point, if possible.
So here's the thing. This is our still may be okay movie month.
Oh, I forgot. I did get a sound effect just for Maybe It Won't Suck, which is...
Let's go. Okay, stop.
Yep, there you go.
Which is, of course, for press your luck on whether it'll suck or not. Go on.
So I remember this movie having watched it around the time I watched Star Wars, right? And I remember liking it as a kid. And I haven't seen this movie since I was probably, I think I was maybe 11, 12 when I saw this movie last, right? And I remember it as a fun, if not a little bit similar sci-fi movie to Star Wars. It was like a bad Star Wars, right? And here's the thing. Now having seen it again, it is exactly that. It is an Italian attempt at making a kind of Star Wars. And now I say a kind of, unlike another movie that we're going to review, because they do some of their own weird shit. But so much of the DNA is just there. I mean, there are shots. The Italians love to just lift these shots from big movies. And there is this... They take the classic Star Destroyer shot from New Hope and they just throw it in there. I mean, and they're doing it. And the thing is that you can see what they're trying to do, but they can't help doing it in their Italian way. And that's what gives this movie charm, which is the fact that it's like, you know, the stormtroopers are all in like kind of black leather and like they're stylish. The costumes are actually really great in this movie because they couldn't just do it the way George Lucas did it. They needed to take the original Star Wars design and make it more fashionable, But sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's terrible. So, like, the Darth Vader character, who we had many names for, Darth Daddy, Leather Vader, I mean, there's just so many. He does look like he's a gimp. He's a leather gimp wearing a samurai helmet. He does. He's not great. But yet, there are all these interesting uniforms around him, all these interesting costume designs. What's his name? Keel. What's Keel's first name?
Is it Peter?
Is it Peter? Keel? It's basically Jaws from James Bond.
That's the easiest way to say it. Is Jaws or the big guy from the big guy with the cane from Happy Gilmore? Is what most younger
his
people
last
probably
name
know
is
from.
Keel. Keel is in an excellent jumpsuit. Looks really cool on him. And actually, with a beard and, like, long hair, he kind of looks like a dashing character. Like, I'll give them credit. I thought he was going to be the Han Solo type when this movie started because, they had him. He had this. They basically gave him a robot dog that was kind of like a droid, but kind of like a Wookiee at the same time. I don't know. And he had this, like, broken down ship. And this is where the humanoid goes in a different direction, which is that there's all this Star Wars shit in there. But the Empire has been fought down, and now they have this, like, beautiful republic. And the Empire wants to strike back, and so they're going to build an army of humanoid creatures. So essentially they're taking humans and altering their DNA to turn them into super soldiers. And the first person they do this with is Keel, who looks so dashing in the beginning and then spends most of the movie as a Frankenstein type. Just smashing things and being laser proof, and it's sent to the home planet, to Alderaan, essentially, to kill their brave leader. And then our heroes try to stop him. Now, the heroes of our movie, there is your Luke Skywalker, Han Solo type, right? Oh no, there's a Han Solo type. He's a soldier, right? He's the guy who gets everything done. There's a Luke Skywalker type little boy. There's a little Asian boy. I kept thinking that he was like a mix of Luke Skywalker and Yoda. They just shoved him together. He's this little boy. He's obviously using some kind of special power. He can manifest weird archers with lightsaber crossbows or they're lightsaber archers. They fire lightsaber arrows because they had to get lightsabers in there somehow. And there's another woman who's a doctor who doesn't really have any resemblance to anybody. I give her the credit, but the dresses they put some of these women in is amazing. And then they gave us, and instead of an emperor, there's an empress who has one of the most unfortunate hairdos you will ever see in a movie. We should pause talking about the movie itself and just talk about this hairdo, because it is something like a Cocker Spaniel. I mean, I think you said it was like a Cocker Spaniel's ass. And this woman is...
Yeah, it's like, it would be like a, like one of these Pomeranian type dogs shitting out a woman's face.
And she was a beautiful woman. I mean, absolutely stunning, and her costume looked good.
Yeah, because later they put a cap on it, like a
helmet on her. Is what
cap,
they do.
yeah, whatever, and it looks way better.
And she looks so good, and then mysteriously the helmet never comes off. So, yeah, so and our heroes need to deal with the humanoid, and then eventually figure out a way to stop the Darth Gimp Daddy, and. It is a B movie that any Star Wars fan should see once, because they rip off all this shit, but then they rip it off and they run it through the Italian filter, and the stuff that comes out is just so fucking weird and so funny, and I just had such a good time laughing at the sequences that they pulled directly, and then the shit that they run through the Italian filter, and the costumes, and and it's all handled very seriously. Like, this is not meant to be a comedy. There is shit that you laugh at that you're like, oh my god, like, and I kept saying to you, it's like, are they making a comedy? Like, is this serious? And you were like, no, this is straight, man. They wanted to make their own kind of Star Warsy movie, and you said the director even changed his name. Wasn't it like
On
George-
the poster in the theaters, it was George Lewis.
George
To
Lewis?
fool people into thinking George Lucas directed it.
Yeah. So, and I mean, man, what it must be to think you're going to see a Star Wars movie and then seeing this fucking thing. But I did enjoy it. It is a B movie, but as a Star Wars fan, I just thought this was an endearing kind of sidestep into a weird other universe. And I understand why my young self would have liked this movie, because it is science fiction. There are spaceships. There is weird shit going on, right? I mean, and come on. At one point in this movie, Darth Gimp Daddy whips out lightsaber hands. And they start, like, kung fu fighting. And he's using his lightsaber hands and, like, blowing shit up. And yeah, I remember you were like, well, it had to be something. At least they did something different. And it's like, yeah, he has lightsaber chopsaki hands. It's amazing. It's amazing, the decision making. I don't know, your thoughts, your feelings?
No, I totally agree. This is the Italian ripoff filmmaking machine at probably about I mean, the story is not very similar to Star Wars in many ways. It's much of the visuals are what's similar, but the story itself is about some kind of empire type society trying to develop a super serum to deploy so they can control a populace to take over a planet. So it is sort of empire adjacent, but the mechanism is completely different. The only person who wields the force is the kid. It's never explained. He's some kind of alien. He leaves at the end of the movie. So, if anything, he seems to be a Yoda type, except not at all.
I mean,
but
here's the thing. If they'd veered away from the Star Wars visuals, it might have almost been an original movie. It's that they went so hard into making it like, echo of Star Wars.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying is, in terms of the story, it's nothing that is original by any stretch, but the story is the part that is the farthest from Star Wars, whereas the visuals are impossible not to compare to Star Wars. I mean, impossible. The Darth Gimp character they basically replicated the costume, including the control board on his chest that is never explained. It is only there purely to make you think of Darth Vader. The lightsaber hands, because they couldn't do lightsabers, because I do remember that is one thing that Lucas jumped on, and that Star Wars probably, you could not have lightsabers. They were very, very litigious on that, even though there is a movie that we should at some point probably watch called The Princess Warrior, maybe, or something like that, where they have lightsabers, but they got away with it, I think, because that movie made about $5 and there wasn't anything to sue and get them for. But outside of that, the spaceship thing is Spaceballs level parody, where it just goes on and on and on, flying over the camera. It is built to look like a Star Destroyer. You don't have R2-D2, you have a dog. So I guess Keel is supposed to be C-3PO, but not a dork, I guess. I don't know what else, But otherwise, you have a princess and you have Luke, although thankfully they did not try to have some kind of half-assed incestuous love relationship between the two, because the child is a child, so they were smart enough to avoid that. There is apparently in this universe a complete deficiency of bras, which is not a negative. I'm just saying that you're going to notice it because it's very,
listen,
very
it
evident.
has an Italian sensibility, so you go into knowing that.
Oh yeah. There is no doubt who made this movie, except if you see the poster that says George Lewis, which again, speaks to the fact that they knew what they were copying. But it's perfectly serviceable and entertaining. It's a fun 90-minute romp to see, how somebody can lift all the visuals and not really understand the storytelling correctly. Because at one point, not in this movie, but in the next one we're going to talk about, you would ask me, well, why were they making these like this? And, why just do this like this? And I said, well, because they understood the movies were successful. They understood the visuals literally on the screen, and they tried to replicate scenes without necessarily having either the understanding or perhaps the interest in trying to create an epic story. And so this one, again, this is a story that could have been copied out of any fantasy or science fiction story of any book from the last 100 years, in essence. Evil forces trying to control a people to control their lands. Good people fight them and win. That's it. That's all it is. So what you watch this for is either nostalgia, in Lando's case. If I ever saw this movie, have no memory of it, so there was no nostalgia for me. For me, it was the delight in watching my country people replicate something terribly. Because
God.
that is something that is very dear to my heart, is Italian ripoff films are ineptly adorable, and they will never not be so to me because it is just so obvious and so seldom done in a objective sense well. But in terms of entertainment value, through the roof. It's great. But
I laughed so hard. So hard. I mean, the first
first
half hour of this movie, I was just... I had trouble breathing. I was laughing so hard. I mean... But then...
it's a fun movie.
And does it get a little slow in the middle? You know what? Actually, I'll say this.
No,
This
I don't think so.
Doesn't
I
really
don't
get
think so.
slow because then Keel gets turned into a weird humanoid monster thing, and then he's just fucking... you know what? I love the decision they made with him. So he is a really big guy. And when he turns into a monster, his whole thing is just he either throws people or he smashes them into the ceiling. He just grabs them.
Yeah, he
and
throws a lot of people.
Man, he throws a ton of people. And it just becomes so amusing for that reason.
Yeah.
And then there's funny choices where like the Empress who's siphoning off life from others and is like the most beautiful woman and everyone adores her. And then, in the final fight, they just ignore her and she essentially dies of old age because she doesn't get her age serum. And I was like, that's an interesting
they pull
choice.
Last Crusade. She's
yeah.
What was that character's name? I can't remember his name. The bad guy, the bad Nazi who's using Indiana Jones and his father, and at the end, when he chooses the wrong grail and drinks it, he turns into a skeleton, and that's what happens here. And it's the same exact move, even though this movie is before. So I can only assume that Steven Spielberg watched The Humanoid, really liked that particular part, and copied it for Last Crusade.
You think he was like, "Fuck you guys, you copied my shit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna copy yours."
Well, no, that wasn't Steven Spielberg. That was George Lucas.
Oh, George Lucas. George Lucas. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes,
But it doesn't really matter because it's bullshit to begin with. So I do not believe seriously that Steven Spielberg, in case anybody's going to take that wrong, I don't think Steven Spielberg actually watched this and copied it. I just think it'd be funny if it was true.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised because, I mean, there are people who love movies and, if you
That's
don't
true.
think that there's directors out there who are watching B movies for fucking shits and giggles,
Yeah.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
I am sure that George Lucas has seen The Humanoid and Steven Spielberg.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm sure he at a certain point was getting sent these all the time, and probably chose to find them funny.
And he watched them and he was like, those Italians. Like, look at those uniforms.
Yeah.
You know what? And let me tell you, his stormtroopers can fucking hit shit. Unlike the white clad
Yes,
ones.
this movie's stormtroopers actually know how to fire guns at something.
Yeah.
So there is that.
I thought this was... I stand by my notion that if you're a Star Wars fan, you should see The Humanoid at least once. Know that it is a rip-off B movie. But you should. I'm going to go a step.
I'm going to go a step further.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that this is like our next film. This is one of the things that I recommend to anybody who's a fan of anything: is find the Italian ripoff movie of something you know very well and watch it, because you will get a delight that is hard to replicate any other way. I mean, because when they're done like this, where they're not
making fun of it. That's the other thing too. Is that this isn't?
No, it's not a comedy. It's not being
a comedy.
It's not Spaceballs.
It's not a satire. They are seriously trying to import the visual language of Star Wars, and then running it through the Italian filter.
There's two ways to look at it. You can either look at it as an earnest, sincere attempt to replicate something without transforming it because they didn't know how or didn't have the budget, which is the generous way to look at it. Or you can look at it as these ballsy fucks, these spaghetti slurping pieces of shit thought that nobody would care. They ripped this fucking stuff off, and they ripped it the fuck off. And that's what they did. And it's delightful either way. So whether it's sincere or not.
I guess we both enjoy it for very different reasons.
Oh, yeah. No. I eat this shit up because I don't care which it is. The result is the same, which is, look at that. And that's all I need.
And you know what? Listen,
as long as it isn't boring, which none of the movies we watched were boring. None of them. They all had something going on.
Keel is great in this movie. This is probably the best performance I've seen him in. When he gets to be a good guy.
They made him a very sympathetic character. What they essentially did is, again, before the other movie did it, they did the Temple of Doom arc with him, where Indiana Jones gets possessed and has to get burned and then becomes good, and he's like hugging the kid and everything's nice. So Keel gets transformed from a bearded muscle man into a non-bearded, mindless muscle man, and is evil until the power of friendship and love brings him back, and then he gets his Robo-Dog back, and everybody likes him again.
Yep.
So,
and then he gets his beard back at the end. Magically.
Yes. Being cured of being a mindless automaton is the true Rogaine.
It's the true Rogaine.
Yeah. That's what it is. We're expanding GLH9, everybody.
But you know what? I will say this, though, because I have realized this after the fact. I enjoyed the humanoid slightly more than the next movie. Slightly
well, that
more.
is where you and I do differ.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why. I have some theories, but yeah, I did enjoy the humanoid more than the other one. Not saying the other one's bad. Well, they're both
the other one ain't bad.
But yeah, I enjoyed it slightly more. Which I'll let you present the next one because you've seen it before.
Actually, I can think of one reason why the humanoid is more watchable for some people. But yeah, after we watched the humanoid, I made a late decision to add a film to the roster because originally it was just going to be 2 movies because I had a feeling we were going to go long, and yep, I was right. But we followed it up because we watched this and it was such a ripoff because I didn't remember it, so I wasn't aware of how blindingly a ripoff it was. But we followed up by a movie that actually showed up humanoid in terms of being a ripoff, because I would say the humanoid is derivative in comparison to 1989's Shocking Dark, which is
oh my god,
among the most ripoff of films you could ever watch.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that they just didn't even understand what they were ripping off, so they just would just shove it in where they could, and you'd have these sequences, and you'd be like, wait, what? Like, why is this sequence important? There are no security cameras. Why is there a security camera all of a sudden? Because they're trying to copy another movie. Oh, I get it. So they themselves didn't fully understand how to get these sequences in, just that they needed to get them in. Because that's what the other movie did. It was so strange.
Again, there's 2 ways to think about it.
Yeah.
It may be that they understood what the original films were doing, but either did not have the acting talent to be able to achieve the emotional connections
or the
and
money, or
needed to set up things, or money, or it was a cheap cash-in. I shouldn't say cheap, but it was a blatant cash-in. But this movie, where the humanoid story deviates quite a bit from Star Wars in many ways, where you could, again, if you strip the visuals and do the same story but do it differently, it's an original film. It's the visuals that really make it a Star Wars ripoff. Honestly, they never mention anything that would be Star Wars direct in the actual storytelling. Whereas this film does the bare minimum to avoid a slam dunk lawsuit from James Cameron, both in terms of Aliens and the Terminator, but much more from Aliens, because
I mean, yeah, they were really just aiming for Cameron, weren't they, altogether?
Oh, yeah, clearly. But this is the thing. In the humanoid, I cannot recall any dialogue that I remember hearing in Star Wars directly.
There's no force. There's no use the Force.
But
Luke.
but not even similar lines like "You're our only hope" type of thing. There's nothing like
okay,
that.
No, hold on, fuck you. There was a lot of that. There was a few times they were like, "Oh my god, you're our only hope," and I laughed.
Yeah, but it wasn't a woman kneeling down to a hologram. You know what I mean? It's not a direct thing.
But nobody used specific Star Wars terminology. That's
You didn't find out that Darth Gimp was the kid's father. You didn't, again, that's what I'm saying is there wasn't that stuff. Yeah, but I mean, "You're my only hope." That's not original to Star Wars either. So what I'm saying is there was nothing that if you watch this, never having seen Star Wars, if you watched this and only heard the dialogue and somebody was describing the bare minimum, you probably wouldn't connect it to Star Wars, but in the loosest way. Whereas if you didn't see the visuals of Shocking Dark, but you knew Aliens really well, and you listened to it, you would know what the fuck they were ripping off, because Jesus Christ, the same lines are used. Literally.
Now,
that can't be right. That's inside the room. You're not reading it right.
Is that Joe and I both know Aliens really well.
Yes.
So we would just pick it up right away.
That's not a problem.
No, well,
that's great.
We're going to see it more aptly than others.
And this is a curiosity point for me on people who like B movies but don't know Aliens. Would they enjoy it as much? Now, I'm assuming you wouldn't watch this if you're not into B movies, because why would you? This is not a movie you would just stumble across generally. You'd have to be into this type of movie.
No, but you know what?
But if you didn't know Aliens front to back, which we think everybody likes that movie, but maybe not.
I've seen Alien-type rip-off movies. I mean...
there's a million Italian ones. There's a ton.
But the comedy of this one is the level to which...
It's fucking Xeroxed.
Yeah,
it's the Xeroxing of Aliens.
Again, there are scenes that they just try to... low budget simulate.
Yes.
Even when the scenes don't seem to fit the format.
Right.
They do that scene where they lock Newt and Ripley up in the room while they're sleeping.
Wait. They do every scene with Ripley and Newt. They do them all. All of them. The way they find her is almost the same.
Yeah,
the way they get locked in
but what I'm saying
is the same.
Hold on.
She gets captured the same.
But they put her in this room, right? And they say, go get some sleep. Even though I don't know if anybody else is at that moment. But they go to get some sleep. And then the thing is, they can't be impregnated because, the Burke character is not trying to get them out with the thing in them. It's like he's just trying to take them out. So, the whole format changes a little bit. And suddenly, they realize they're locked in. And there's, one of the monsters is in there with them. And they start screaming at a security camera that we haven't heard of. There's been no reference to this security camera up to that point. And suddenly, there's a screen. And you're like, wait, why is this here? And it's because it's in the original fucking movie. And they're like, we need to have this scene. So regardless of whether it fits, we're putting that scene in because it's dramatic and people want to see it.
There is a reason, but it is terribly done. Because the little girl sees his arm.
Oh, no, I get that. But it's just...
As you said, they're in this thing where they're worried about these monsters getting them. They inexplicably seal these two characters who have no real training or weaponry in a different room. For no reason. And it's not even shown. They're just suddenly in a locked off room. And it's because in Aliens, that's a scene.
They do the Lance Henriksen scene with the microscope, frame for frame, practically. The lines are almost the same.
Nice pet you got there. Is there anything you need? And he even looks at him and says, no, I'm fine. The same goddamn line.
If you know Aliens well, there's so many shots that you see them, and the moment they start, you're like, Are they doing this scene? Oh my god, they are. And it's just over and over to a point to which the movie, there is a moment where this movie goes off the rails as far as being Aliens. Where it becomes a different movie. Right?
Yes. What we find out
that is the originality of this movie, I guess.
Well, not really. What they did was they took Ash and Burke and they smushed them together and made him a killing machine that is...
Ash from Alien, yes. They basically took the Lance Henriksen character and made him a bad android. But not just
Yeah,
a bad
they made
android.
Bad Bishop.
They made a bad Bishop who is basically the Terminator.
Yeah. I mean, literally the only thing missing was somebody saying, I guess she didn't like the cornbread either. I'm shocked that didn't get in there somehow, but it doesn't matter. So yes, the movie gets to a certain point, and the Tubular Corporation rep,
God, the name,
who is Burke.
Tubular Corporation is such a funny...
Yeah, you're getting all these little clips of the CEO or whoever, the marketing person from Tubular, explaining how bad the company is because, Wayland Yutani. And there's a certain point where the rep, who's dressed in black and red, Nazi style, different from everybody else, because everybody else is wearing bitchin' costumes, but he is his is cool too, but it's black and red. Everybody else is kind of gray and yellow striping, or, the Ripley character's got a vest that randomly vanishes and comes back. It's an Invisivest.
And
It comes and goes.
Yeah, but has these, magenta highlights on them. Because they're like, well, we need to make her feminine. Like, we need to add some.
Well, I said at one
magenta.
point, obviously, parts of this movie were sponsored by T-Mobile, even though it existed before T-Mobile did. But that level of pinkish red is all over. Because at that point, there's points where the pipes are that color, too. It's weird. But anyway, so as it goes along, he gets injured by one of the creatures, who are the most un-alien of the whole thing because they look stupid. They are men in suits that are barely articulating. But in any event, he gets injured and you see wiring. And he's just holding his arm then for about 15 minutes of the movie. And then there's a point where the little girl says, "You're a robot." And then they play this recording where the company's like, because the start off is you see Venice when it's current day of 1990. And then suddenly it's polluted and everything is fucked and it's dystopian. And I don't even know if people live on the surface anymore or what, but it's all off limits. And you find out that the company, which was in theory testing a way to depollute the water, is in fact adding something to turn everyone into monsters to profit somehow.
Well, they're
not very well explained.
They're over polluting everything, so that they can then
for a
buy
real estate
all
deal.
of it and then eventually sell it. Yeah, it turns into a real
and
estate
sell it to
deal.
the monsters, I guess, at a increased appreciated rate. Even it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't need to because hey, doesn't make no fucking sense. It's Italian. So, at the point where this is revealed, the Burke character, Burkinator, suddenly just goes full killing machine and is like, "Oh yeah, I'm a robot. I'm the most advanced android. You can't hurt me," and just starts offing people. And then it becomes the Terminator, where he's killing people to pursue the scientist and this young girl for whatever reason, just to kill them. And then they set a self-destruct that I guess he thinks he'll survive or whatever. And so the woman and the kid are running around, and if you've seen the end of Aliens, where there's lightning and
they
hissing,
did the electrical
and
effect and everything, yeah.
Yep, all that stuff. They're running through all that, and they come into this little room that is coincidentally, when they played a little promotional material, a woman comes on the screen, the same woman from the Tubular Corporation, comes on and says, "Hey, welcome to the experimental time pod. Just pick up this keypad and program a day, and you'll go wherever you want. By the way, this is experimental, so good luck. Have a nice flight." And they plug in a thing, and they disappear just in time. And they get to 1990 Venice, prior pollution. And they come out, and they see people, and there's a kid with an RC car, and then a boot comes down and squishes the car, and once you know it, Burkinator's there, and he says, "Hey, you know what?
There
were
was two time
pods.
machines."
Hey, oh, you fucked." And he starts going on a rampage, and then the woman, Ripley, or not, Ripley's believe it, she's not, has
Ripley,
the
believe it or
keypad.
not, she is not,
Yeah.
yeah.
She throws some kind of number into it, throws it at him, and it beams him into whatever.
Somewhere.
And then the movie ends.
She has just
like,
broken the timeline.
She sent him to the same place as the scientist from Eliminators. That's what I said. That's where he went. So the two of them are going to be lovers at the end of, or at the beginning of time, I guess. And then she says, "All right, now we're going to make sure none of this ever happens." So now there's two of her and two of the girl, I guess, in this timeline who are going to prevent all this from somehow happening, and the movie ends. The story is stupid when it's not just being a ripoff.
I will tell you, I think the reason that I like Humanoid slightly more is I feel for me that Shocking Dark, for me, lags a little bit in the middle. I start, not even in the middle. In, the last, we were probably, 2/3 of the way through the movie. It just started to lag on me a little bit. And then it got funny again. But, there was just this bit where it was just going on too long. Which I know for a movie that's only an hour and 29 minutes, is probably not good. But I don't know what it is. I feel like they were running out of alien steam. I don't know. But yeah, it just feels a little too long.
Yeah, I would watch this again before Humanoid just to laugh at it, because I think it's just the level of shameless, not even, I mean, literally the term rip-off is so appropriate. Some films are called rip-offs, and you go, well, no, they clearly liked some of these things and they wanted to do their own version of it. But this is not that. This is, all right, recreate that scene. Well, yeah, but, sir, we don't have them. I don't care. Just put the actors in a situation, make them move the same way, make a close-up of her hand coming up looking for a gun. The same thing. Who cares?
And the girl
hey,
who
what
plays,
the fuck is? Who cares? The fucking aliens.
The girl who plays the not Ripley. This is the only movie she ever made, and she reminds me of, wasn't that Kristen Wiig? What's her name from SNL?
Kristen.
Oh God, what's her name?
Oh God, you knew it when we were talking about Kristen.
I know. Shit, what's her name?
Kristen.
I'm looking. It's not
I want to say
Kristen
Gerben,
Wiig.
but that's not right. What is it?
No, they did. What was the new Ghostbusters?
She was in the but I don't remember her name. Let's tell me her name.
Yeah, hold
Kristen.
on. I'm
something.
looking it up. Let's see.
Kristen Offerson. Kristen
What's it
not
called?
Gerwig. That's the other one.
What was the girl Ghostbusters called?
She was Egon. Just female Egon.
What is her name? Hold on. I
Oh
almost
my
got
God!
It.
Am I going to find this faster than you?
No, I'm gonna find it. Kate McKinnon.
Well,
She
it
looks
just came up too.
so much like Kate McKinnon that it's like it's weird. Like
Now I will say,
yeah,
the young girl is annoying. That would be the one thing that would drive me off this movie. The young girl screams a lot.
She's heavily accented Italian, and she's the woman's name is Sarah, and she screams Sarah all the time. She's like,
a lot.
Sarah, Sarah, like she screams it continuously.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah. And after a while, you're like, just let her get killed. It's okay.
Just let her get killed. Please just let her get killed. Yeah. So there is that. That is the one part where at least Humanoid avoided that problem, where the little kid wasn't annoying. He was just.
But
mystical,
I mean,
and that's fine.
Listen, they kill everybody. I mean, that's the thing about it. They do the aliens. They kill everybody. I mean, the only survivors are not Ripley,
or Kate McKinnon, and not Newt.
Yeah, not Newt.
Not Newt.
And I think that for me, if you like aliens, then you definitely have to watch this movie.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, if you're an aliens fan, then you absolutely must watch this and have a good time. If you're not an aliens fan and you're not an Italian ripoff fan, then maybe I don't know. But I like aliens quite a bit, and I found this movie to be quite hilarious. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean about, I don't know if somebody who's just a B-movie fan but doesn't like aliens or isn't as familiar would get as much out of it. But if you are somebody who knows aliens a lot and you want to see something that's just funny, as a almost an SNL skit, except it's serious, then watch this. You will just be, I mean, this is what I mean. Lando did not, and this, you're right, we probably should have recorded this, but I'm just so disgusted with the whole idea that fuck it. But the level of disbelief at the hubris of imitation that Lando was expressing for a while was exactly what I was hoping for.
On Humanoid, I was just delirious. I was just laughing because they just keep... You just keep getting... I mean, when Darth fucking Gimp Daddy shows up, I was like, oh my God, they tried to do Darth Vader. What the fuck?
Right, but again, that's all visual, and the storytelling doesn't back it up.
Yeah.
But in Shocking Dark, when it is literally scenes replicated top to bottom with incoherent application, as in, why is this scene happening? And they're using the same dialogue even. It is a transcendent ripoff experience. That is why Shocking Dark has its reputation, because it goes further than most of these films did in blatantly lifting everything. Not just visuals.
I mean, I don't understand
not just
how
story, everything.
How they didn't get sued. I mean...
I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know. Especially because it was also marketed as Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's fucked up as well.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They did it all the time. So I guess it was probably just seen that there wasn't enough money to be made Plus, it's international. You'd have to sue an Italian company.
So
Is it worth all the
it had
effort?
limited distribution. The movie was never officially released in theaters or on home video in the United States, keeping it largely off the radar of Hollywood's major studios.
Well, there you go.
In Italy, the film was brazenly released as Terminator 2 in an attempt to capitalize on the upcoming Hollywood sequel, while in Japan it was distributed as Alienators or Alien 3. Alienators.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
That is probably the best title for this movie. Alienators.
Actually, I like the title "Killers of a Venice Beach," which is another title of it.
God.
That's at least original. But there was another Alienator film that I believe was an American B movie that they probably didn't want to overlap with, because that was also a B movie that is very similar to Terminator. Like I said, this is a
Yeah, but you know what?
the
By the
ripoff
way,
field is a rich one.
I want to add to this. Oh, you know what another title for the movie was?
Yeah.
Contaminator.
And there's a movie called Contamination that I believe the same director or a similar one did, and that's probably why they didn't use that one.
But the other thing
Because that one's also an alien ripoff.
is that even though it's a ripoff, right, they still run it through the Italian filter. So the uniforms have this, like, weird kind of Italian design to them. Like,
They're
Ripley's
great.
not wearing a bomber jacket. She's wearing, like, a stylish leather vest. Like, everything is run through the Italian sensibility. So it looks actually quite good. I mean, it's a B movie otherwise, and they're definitely in an abandoned, like, power station. But the uniforms and the clothing are actually quite amusing because they look, they are quite distinct and interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been some weird shit.
Contamination came out in 1980, and that's a ripoff of Alien. Directed by Luigi Cozzi.
Oh, my God. The Shocking
Another
Dark one of the posters
Italian
looks so
ripoffer.
much like Terminator. That's amazing.
Oh, it's beautiful. That artwork is fantastic. That's the thing. The artwork for a lot of these movies is really good. The one where the eye is like beaming and it's got partial metal coming off. Oh, that's far superior to the Shocking Dark poster. It's great. Yeah.
God,
A lot of these had great artwork.
I mean,
that's
she
the
looks
crazy
so
part.
much like Kate McKinnon.
Yeah. And then the Apone is mixed in with Vasquez. Like, it's all there.
Yeah, the Vasquez
It's all
Apone,
there. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. But that's what makes it good.
Yeah, and I do think that Shocking Dark is a bigger ripoff than Humanoid.
Far bigger.
Yeah, far bigger. Humanoid
I mean,
is a visual ripoff, but story-wise, like you said, it does its own thing.
Oh, yeah.
Shocking
Yes.
Dark is just trying to be some kind of alien.
That's why
till it
Humanoid
goes, shit, we got to do something different. We'll do
Yeah, so let's rip off
Terminator.
Yeah. No. Humanoid is visually derivative. Shocking Dark is a blatant ripoff.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean,
Yeah, and like who the Hudson character is kind of varies, but then eventually there's
it
stuff
jumps
that
around.
yeah.
but you have the scene where they're using the reader.
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
inside
they've got
the
their
room. I mean, they
they've
do
got
it
the
all.
motion detectors. Doom, doom.
Yep,
I mean, it's
yep,
just a
oh, yeah.
beeper. Yeah.
The little girl's in that sub basement, and the lighting is the same.
She's in the wall.
Yep.
She's got to pull this stuff off. Yeah.
Yeah, even though the stuff is about 1 inch thick and it should take her 2 seconds, it takes 10 minutes. It's just crazy. It's great. It's great.
No,
I own the Blu-ray. Let's put it that way. I bought it the minute it was available.
It is a very fun rip-off movie.
Yes.
I think these two are a perfect double feature. If you know what you're getting into, they are a perfect double feature.
Yeah. If you want to see when people talk about Italian ripoff films and you've never really seen it, you want to see it, watch it in this order. Watch Humanoid first, then watch Shocking
because
Dark.
we watched Humanoid first, I want to also say, as far as the whole idea of are these still they may still be good. I think the Humanoid is still a fun watch if you are a Star Wars fan and want to have some fun.
Oh yeah,
it is a B movie.
Oh no, these are there's a reason why when we watched Humanoid, I immediately thought we have to watch Shocking Dark next. There's a reason. It was not accidental. There's a reason.
So
they're a great pairing. Great pairing.
They're a good double feature. Yeah, I applaud you.
Yeah. But the first movie we watched, this was the surprise, and yet again, as I've said many
weird.
times in doing all these setups. I think the first movie is going to be the weakest, and they tend to be the most fascinating and or good.
I mean, this movie was just so weird in ways we weren't prepared for.
This was a total surprise. So I vaguely remembered this movie from when I was younger. And the main reason I remember...
Tell them what you remember.
Yeah, and I pointed this out in my short review, too. I'm not hiding this. This is not, When I saw this movie, I was probably 14 or 15, because this movie came out in 94. Oh, no, wait. 94, I would have been 16. So, imagine a young, relatively straight male watching movies and what they were interested in. Generally, it's women, because again, at this point, the internet, as we know it today, didn't really exist.
Yep.
Right? So, your sources of female nudity were generally the magazines your father thought he hid well, or the magazines that guys passed around in high school, or movies that were running on the alternate movie channels. That's where it usually was. Unless, of course, you knew the guy at the video store who let you go into the back behind the curtain. Then you had another source. But not everybody had that. So I remembered this movie because the main character is a attractive woman who's very goth, which I figured out early was a type I liked. Very, very, hot topic. And she escapes from hell. And when she does, for reasons I'm sure the movie knew about but failed to provide to us, her clothing evaporates for a couple minutes.
Yeah, she walks down a city street. Yeah.
Yep. And you get as much nudity as a movie like this would allow at the time. Were this Italian, we would have gotten the whole thing. As it is, it cuts off right under her stomach. But we get front back, and I remembered that. And I didn't remember much else. So I thought, okay, this is exactly the type of movie where I expected it to be junk. I thought this is going to be a movie that we're going to say, okay, the woman's gorgeous, but this is boring as shit, and there's nothing else to it.
God, yeah. And
However,
I was never bored with this fucking movie, like ever.
Nope.
So you got to tell them what the name of the movie is, so we know.
The name of the movie is Dark Angel: The Ascent from 1994. Make sure you use the whole title in the year, otherwise you'll find Dark Angel the series or another movie called Dark Angel.
Dark Angel: The Ascent. Yeah.
Yes, Dark Angel: The Ascent.
And the first loop that we got in this movie was that you have this girl. What was her name? The demon.
Veronica.
Veronica. It was Veronica. So Veronica is the demon in hell, and hell is a place where sinners are punished. Now the first loop that we had here was that demons in hell are not against God. They're in fact massively orthodox religious. Because they are basically doing God's work, punishing sinners. So the demons are actually all very religious. They pray, they say amen, and they feel they are doing God's work. And it is such a shift from what people usually think of, where they're like, oh, the devil is a rebel, and the demons are like, fuck God. And it's like, no, they're employees. Hell is part of God's domain and is doing his work, which is punishing people who don't follow the rules. So that right there sets a really weird vibe to this movie, because Veronica, the demon, wants to go up to Earth and see humans, right? But she is not a corrupter. She is not an evil force. If anything, she's an Orthodox Christian with superpowers, right? Who finds a way, I guess a hidden path to get to Earth with her hellhound, who is named fucking Hellraiser. Oh, the dog's name is Hellraiser. And she has these fundamentalist Christian parents. Her father is this big, sweaty demon torturer who's like, oh, you're going to stay in hell and do the family business, and we're going to torture the sinners, and I think you said this almost starts out as a a woman's coming of age story about breaking away from her parents and exploring the things that her fundamentalist Christian parents don't want her to see.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely. That's what it is.
It so throws you off than what you're going to expect. And so that is the first, like, just loop where you're like, whoa, they're praying. Oh, no, they're not, like, rebellious, murderous demons. They're, like...
If you remember, I said when they were praying, they said amen. And
the
that
second they said
immediately
amen,
threw me because I said, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Is there amen for Lucifer? Because we didn't know yet.
No, it was
what was
God,
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So
thing
that-
is, and I don't know how many people will remember this, and if you don't, I don't blame you. But there was a point. I want to say early 2000s. I'd have to. Hold on. Let me look this up. I'd like to have this correct, just so I have. Let me see. When did this happen? Here we go. When did this happen? This was in. Does it give a year? There was a point in the comics where, 1998. In 1998, the Punisher had been around for a while, and they didn't know what to do with him.
Is this when the Punisher becomes like a minion of the...
Yes! 4 years after this movie, I'm not saying there's a relation, I'm just saying, the Punisher dies.
The weird soul guns or something like that.
And the Punisher is resurrected by Gage. They say Gadriel. I think they mean Gabriel. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe in the comics he's Gadriel.
He's Gadriel.
And is imbued with the might of heaven itself and goes on a war to be able to return to Earth. So basically, this movie is that. This movie is Heaven's Assassin. Because there's a point where literally a messenger of God appears in a bubble.
A FaceTime cloud appears to her parents.
Well, if you remember Wizard of Oz, at one point Galadriel's in a bubble, right? That's what this is. She comes down because the parents are the father's all pissed off. The mother's very supportive and is like, "Hey, just let her do her thing." But the father's like, and she comes down. And she's like, "Hey." And they use a very specific phrase, which I don't know if it's biblical or not.
She is doing the work of the Almighty. She is part of the
No,
plan,
she says,
like that.
she says she's been sanctioned as a member of like the first guard or something. She uses a very specific term, which I meant to look up, and says, back off. God says this is what she's up to.
Yeah,
and they do.
her.
They're like, oh, all right. Yeah. They're like, don't stop her. Leave her alone. She's doing the shit.
And Veronica doesn't know any of this. Veronica's on Earth, and her big problem is that nothing is the way she thinks it's supposed to be. So she ends up in a hospital because she was found naked walking around. They think she might be crazy. And when she's in the hospital, she meets the doctor, whose name I can't remember. What the hell's the doctor's name?
Max.
Max.
Dr. Max Barris.
Yeah, so she meets Dr. Max. And Dr. Max...
Here it is. Here's the quote.
Go ahead.
Be of good cheer because your beloved daughter has been sanctioned by the first cause. I got to look that up. Is that something? Go on.
So Dr. Max is a good guy, but the world that they occupy is full of corruption. And Dr. Max is one of these very tired, very kind of like he's a doctor beginning to lose hope, right? And so Veronica puts the whammy on him, basically hypnotizes him, is like, you're going to take me home to your apartment. And he's like, okay, I'm going to take you home to my apartment. And he kind of digs her anyway, but Veronica does not come off normal. She has this kind of stunted, almost it's almost like a
she's kind of like Data, where the world she doesn't understand the world, but she's reacting as if her interpretation makes complete sense.
Yeah. So she goes back to his apartment and she watches a ton of TV while he's working, and comes to realize that there are problems in this city. Now, they kept it in a city, and she feels that there's a lot of crime, and that the police are abusing people, and that the mayor is a problem, and there's all these problems, and she is upset, and she needs it, and the thing is, she's a demon, but she is not a demon the way that we think of them in like modern movie. She's not trying to possess people for the devil. She wants to punish people for God. So she kind of goes out, and on her first outing, she happens to catch two men trying to rape a woman in the park, right? So, what's the demon girl to do on her first outing? She tears them apart and saves the girl, and then proceeds to fully tear these men to pieces, as in literally rips pieces out of them, so that when the cops arrive, the main detective literally says these two bodies hanging on a tree, and like humongous chunks of their leg muscle and other pieces are missing, which they never overtly say that this is what it is, but it very obviously feels like this. So when Max gets back from work, she has this big dinner cooked for him. She has this big bowl of meat that she's cooked up, and he's like, oh, he's so good. He's like, where'd you get the meat? And she's like, oh, it's a secret. I'm more than sure that she is feeding Max rapist. I mean, that's the vibe you got too, right?
Oh, based on the fact that she feeds the dog parts
Yeah.
of people, it has to be.
Yeah,
And they make
yeah.
such a big deal and being like, wow, I don't know what this is, but it's really good. I mean, that's kind of I think the black humor element.
Yeah, and you know, she's like, yeah, it's rapist. Rapist tastes great. And that's her first outing, which is what sets the cops on her trail. So now the cops, the cops, who, by the way, the two cop characters are very interesting in this movie, and I'm kind of sad that they don't get a kind of proper conclusion, because they kind of have an arc. I just feel like it didn't. Man, it's so weird for like a B movie like this to say, I needed 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes with these guys just to get their story to a conclusion, right? But either way, Veronica has realized that the world needs to be punished, and she's the one to do it, right? So the cops are looking for who committed this murder, and Max is, you know, trying to maintain being a doctor, but also maybe falling in love with Veronica, or is it still the whammy? Who knows? And Veronica goes on her second outing, wherein she sees 2 cops harassing a black man on the street. So what's a demon girl to do? She rips those fuckers apart. Rips them apart, rips pieces out. Black guy goes running for his life. And now we have a bigger problem, because the detective shows up with his partner, and now we've got 2 dead cops. Right? And, you know, savagely ripped apart cops. Right? At which point, I think she does she writes a fucking oh god, what is it? She writes a letter, but it's essentially like she writes a letter to the mayor. That's essentially like,
Yeah.
you know, you better be good or I'm coming for you. And when the cops
So be good for goodness sake.
yeah, so when the cops show up in the mayor's office, which is palatial, I might say. And they're like, oh, there's somebody left a note on this body, and we want to increase your security. And the mayor's like, yeah, it's just, you know, he's so dismissive of the whole thing, right? But I give the detective credit. I mean, the main detective is trying to get the job done. This is an actor, too, we know. What you said you've seen him in other stuff, too.
Yeah, he was the police commissioner in The Flash. I've seen
There
him
you
in other
go.
things, too, but that's where I know him from.
Yeah, so he's quite good. I mean, the thing is, nobody in this movie is, like, bad. Everybody is just kind of like, you know, television movie good. Right?
Everybody is okay to good.
Yeah. That's why I said television movie good. Because remember, at this era, TV movies were kind of like, you know, mid-grade. If it was a TV movie, it wasn't as good as a theater movie. Whereas now that whole thing has been kind of spun around. So yeah, so she's had these 2 outings. The mayor knows that he's on watch now by someone. The detectives are closing in. At which point, the detectives, I think, how do they end up in Max's apartment? I can't remember that part. They
go to question him. They're looking for him, and she's there.
and she's there, and they immediately know that she
Yes.
must have done it, because
Yeah.
she is so, like,
Well, she never
weird.
says she does it. They're looking for him because I think they found like the hospital coat on one of them
yeah,
or something.
Yeah. In one of the
So they go
crime
looking
scenes.
for, and they say something. Well, you know, there's been some murders, and she's like, "You mean the punishment of the wicked?" Yeah, that's what we mean. You know, we just want to ask him some questions because this is a terrible thing. What is terrible about punishing the wicked?
Yeah, and she's like, he didn't do it. He's a good person, but those people needed to be punished. Yeah.
Although
and
I
he-
wouldn't, and then he says something like, do you have any problem with this? I don't know why anybody would have a problem with the evil getting what they deserve. And he's like, okay, we'll be back later. And then as soon as they get out, he's like, yeah, tail her right away.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, she's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then and that's the thing. This movie has like these little set pieces. So the next big set piece is that Max decides to take Veronica out on the town, right? And you were like, I really hope that there's a '90s nightclub scene. He's like, that's what we need.
Yep.
And of course, you got it. They go to a nightclub, and they have one of the strangest nightclub sequences I've seen in a movie in a while, which is that Veronica has the thing for Max. She does genuinely. She's genuinely into him.
Yeah.
She is a demon. And so when one of is it his ex-girlfriend or like a friend who wants to fuck him?
Oh yeah, an ex. No, it's an ex. Somebody
It's
he
an
was
ex.
previously involved with.
Yeah, so this ex shows up and she's like, "Oh, you're with somebody." She's like, "I see," and she's like, kind of a bitchy ex, whatever. And she's very familiar with Max, which puts Veronica up a fucking wall right there and then. So then she like saunters away, and the thing is, the cops are tailing Veronica now. So the main detective is there, kind of like watching, and the friend goes away and goes to use the bathroom, and Veronica's like, "Max, I'll be right back," and both of us were like, "Uh-oh. She's going for the ex." At which point, she goes to the bathroom, she finds the ex, and she just like, unleashes a demon anger at her. Where she was like, "Max is with me. He's not with you anymore." He's like, "I'll fucking kill you if you go anywhere near him." And this poor woman is like crying and shitting her pants. At which point,
and is only saved by the fact that a guy and a girl, the guy in the
there's a guy
stall
like doing
comes out and
drugs with the
stabs
girl.
her.
And stabs her, yeah. And that's one of the weird parts in the movie, which is that Veronica gets stabbed, and it obviously hurts her, but there is no blood, and it doesn't hurt her enough to slow her down, because she fucking tosses the guy away, and the guy runs away. At which point the detective comes in and sees the situation, right? And now Veronica knows that she's got a problem because the detective is there, and he's like, I don't know if he sees her threatening, but Veronica basically grabs him and she's like, "Yeah, you want to see what happens to the sinners?" And she does what can only be described as a ghostwriter penitent stare, where she shows him the punishment of hell, what is waiting for the sinners. And it's a really great sequence the way they film it, because that guy, I give credit to that actor. He acts like his mind has been blown. At which point, Veronica shows up and she's like, "Hey Max, we gotta get out of here." And Max sees the wound on her and he's like, "Yeah, we gotta get out of here." And they go back to the apartment, and fucking the detective is now gone crazy. His vision of the universe has been shattered. He knows there's a hell. It's waiting to punish people. Like, he's just lost his fucking mind. And the other detective, the partner who's waiting in the car, is like, "Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?" At which point, Max takes Veronica back to the apartment, and he sews her up. She doesn't need any kind of pain med for it, and I guess the stab, I can't tell if it really hurts her or not, or if he sews her up just because he doesn't like there's a big hole in her. And then at this point, she tells him what she is, and they decide to have sex.
They have raucous demon sex.
Yes, and they have this not over the top, but they have this big sex sequence, and she turns into a demon at one point, and he accepts her as a demon, and she's like, "Oh my god, he accepted me in my demon form with my wings," and they cuddle. And Max realizes that, he is also in love with Veronica. But Veronica still has something to do, though, because she still needs to. She
says she has to punish the mayor. She's like, "I have to get the mayor."
Right? So the thing is that
because I think she says either turn around what you're doing, or I'm coming for you. And he gives like a press conference. Where he's like, "We're moving ahead." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Well,
you
the
know,
main detective
and-
basically gives up and goes back to his chief and says, "I want off this case." He's like, "I don't want to do this anymore." He's like,
Yeah.
"We're fine."
Yeah.
He's like, I'm done."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So then, that's right. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what she does is she goes and she does the same thing to the mayor that she does
she
to the
goes
cop.
to the mayor. I thought she was going to kill him, but at this
Yes.
point, I think Max has changed her. That she
Yeah, I
doesn't
think
go,
she's trying to see
Yeah.
if there's a way not to have to kill him.
So she doesn't kill him. She finds him in his house. She gets through. She kicks her ass through his security. She finds him and she gives him the penitent stare. And what's funny is that then she gets shot, right, escaping by the security.
Yes.
And again, this is the confusion because does it really hurt her or does it just like I don't understand?
No, I believe I don't know
Yeah.
about pain, but it is
It's damage.
either a mortal
Yeah.
or a potentially fatal wound that needs to be healed.
Yeah.
And what we realize is it can't be healed on Earth. I guess because she has demonic. Because basically what happens is she's dying.
Yes.
And the angel sends a WhatsApp message through Max's mirror and says,
She's gotta come back. She's got to come back.
you got to
hell.
come back and get into the river Styx and you'll be
to heal
healed.
yourself. Yeah.
Right. And she says, I don't know if I'll be back. And Max says, well, if you come back, I'll be here. And she leaves.
But he does say take her if it'll save her. Like,
Yeah, he's basically
And she
like, 'cause
tells him-
she says, yeah, she may not come back. And he's like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, but save her.
and she says, "Watch your mayor." That's one of the last things I think she says to him.
Yes.
So then you see this broadcast, and the mayor's like, "So I am immediately going to leave office, and I'm going to join a convent, and I'm going to try and spend the rest of my life trying to
I'm
make
going to
amends
atone
with
for what I've done.
what I have done."
Yep. Right. So, okay.
And
it worked.
then the ending was something that you quite enjoyed.
Yeah, then we see Max and he's in his room, and suddenly the mirror bursts into flame, and she steps out healed.
In a black
and Max
wedding
looks at
dress.
her and says, in a white dress.
Oh, no,
and
black.
Max
She's
says,
a black-
"Thank
it's
you."
a black-
Sorry,
it's a
black dress.
black
Yeah, with a
wedding
veil.
dress,
Sorry,
yeah.
wedding dress, black.
Yeah.
And Max says, "Thank you, God," and then the
And
movie
she-
ends,
Yeah, she jumps
and
off.
it's great. It's fucking great.
Yeah, I mean,
I love this movie.
it just so took me left field that I was like, no, it's a fundamentalist Christian demon who wants to punish sinners.
Here's an
and-
interesting thing. I figured something out.
Yeah.
Because of that first cause thing. So I looked it up. First cause, where that comes from, is it's from Thomas Aquinas. And it was a way to refute the philosophical question of if everything has a cause, what caused God? And Aquinas' answer was that he is the first cause, meaning he initiates every cause after. So the only thing that makes sense to me is in this movie, there is no mention of the devil, Lucifer, Satan, Morningstar, nothing. There's also nobody utters the word until Max says, "Thank you, God." But the demons never say they're working for God, and she's an agent of the first cause. So I think the movie was trying to avoid being blamed as being blasphemous.
Yeah.
And so they were using terms that you knew what they meant without saying specific terms. That's my guess. So I think because they say sanctioned by the first cause. Well, that's God if you know what first cause means. If you don't, you're like me going, well, that's a specific term. Why would they use that term? Because that's the stand-in for saying God has sanctioned what she's doing. So that's, I think, why they use that term, but it works because it's the same thing to people who know what it means. But yeah, this movie is awesome because I said to you, and I think you couldn't think of any, I can think of no other popular media depiction of religion that is like this, where it is in the basic structure, classic Christian setup, heaven, earth, hell. Heaven's where the good go, hell's where the punished go, earth's the in-between. But no Satan. The people, the demons
Well, honestly,
are
it
deeply
wouldn't-
devout.
Yeah, the thing is, it wouldn't matter if there was a Satan because in the format of all this, he would just be it would just be another, like, another minion of God doing God's work.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't want to put. What I'm saying is, you don't put Satan in it because then you set up a power structure outside of God. Because she says, if you remember at one point, she says God is the center of the wheel, so everything is around.
But that's the mistake you're making. Hell is not a counterpoint to heaven. Heaven is another part of in the Christian mythology of what.
I know what you're saying, but normal people who aren't overly familiar with the religion think it's hell versus heaven. That's what it's always been shown as.
Yeah, so you're saying by not showing a demon, it bypasses the idea altogether.
By not showing a figure that most people who aren't religious or aren't religious outside of media, if you say Satan, Lucifer, the devil, you immediately to a person who doesn't know, say isn't Christian, but knows Christianity from popular media, they think that's the boss of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by just not mentioning him and showing them praying and saying amen and, saying grace at dinner in hell.
But the thing is, and it makes sense because if they were part of God's plan, and hell was where the sinners were punished, it would make sense that they were that type of creature.
I promise you that most people, again, who aren't Christian aligned, I don't think most people, like if I went to my mother, who generally considers herself lightweight Christian, I guess. She believes in God in heaven and that good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell. That's what she believes in. Past that, she doesn't go to church. She doesn't read the Bible. She doesn't know anything. If I said to her, well, who's the morning star? I'd get crickets. But if I said, who's the devil? She'd say, oh, the devil runs hell. That's what she'd say, because that's what the stuff she's seen and her general awareness based on pop culture has informed her. So if you watch a movie and that's what you're coming from, and there's a Satan in there, you immediately would at some point say, well, wait a minute. Why isn't Satan stepping in when these demons are doing all this stuff? Why are they working for God and not Satan? So by just cutting him out for people who don't know, that just eliminates any confusion. You just set it up as, oh, well, there's no devil, so I guess they would just work for God. Yeah. And I think that's why there is that specific line that she says about God being at the center of the wheel. So that anybody who is wondering where Satan is, it immediately gives you a nice, clear visual picture that God's in the dead center and everything revolves around him. So there is no necessity for the morning star.
What I'm saying is that already is the classic map.
I disagree. That is not what people who don't know the religion think.
Yeah, I know that, but what I'm telling you is that is the classical mythological vision of Christianity. God is at the center of all of it. What you're talking about is modern fucking pop culture fucking idiots who don't actually know the religion that they're following and therefore have come up with...
I think most people, if they described the setup, would have it as a hierarchy where God's at the top, then heaven, then earth, then hell and the devil, and they're fighting. That's what I think most people, if you said describe the relationship of heaven and hell, forget what it actually is. That's what they'd say. Because most of the time, that's what we see. Like the prophecy, right? Prophecy.
Yeah, I know. But
Viggo Mortensen's fighting God. Gabriel's pissed off at God, so he's trying to fuck with him. Because it's a war. It's like war stuff. That's what especially Americans can associate with war.
And the reality is that if you follow mythology, there is no war. God runs everything, and everyone's basically kind of, in his light. Listen, the story of Job is not the devil picking on somebody against God. It's God and the devil making a bet to see if the devil can get somebody to break. And God going, go ahead. You can't kill him. Go ahead. You can do whatever else you want. See what happens. Right? No, everybody works for God in the Christian mythology.
This movie, ironically, may be the most theologically correct and pure version
on some levels,
I've seen in popular media for two reasons. One, the God at the center of the wheel analogy, which is a very good one because it's clear and visual and immediately tells you, and using the term first cause. Because based on first cause, the Aquinas principle, he literally is saying everything is because of God. That's what first cause literally means, which I had never heard of before. Were
I've
you
heard something
aware of
like
that
it.
term?
I've heard something. It's not first
Okay.
cause, but I've heard something like
Yeah.
that.
So this is what I'm saying is this movie got me to look up how pure it is in its depiction, which is stunning in a straight-to-video full moon release that starts off with a nude demon and a dog named Hellraiser.
I know, and that's the thing is that, I think I said to you after we finished watching this movie, because the movie's only an hour and 23 minutes long, something like that,
81
right?
fucking
Yeah, and
minutes.
I said,
It's an
you know what?
hour 21.
I could have watched another, 10, 20 minutes of this movie, at least, just to get a sense of, the world that they were working with. You know what that is?
And I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm happy it's not a minute longer. It's perfect.
See, I
think
got
it gave
so
us
curious about the universe
everything
that they
we
were
need.
in.
No, I don't want it
to
anymore because I think they ruin it. If this tries to go any bigger, it ruins it.
I know. I
think-
wanted a conclusion for the detective. I wanted, there's little things I wanted, but the fact that I wanted more is a good sign because that means that I enjoyed the movie to the point and didn't get enough of it. Right. So no, I was fucking humongously surprised this movie was as fun as it was for what it was. I mean, how often do you get that?
Not. I am stunned by this movie. Because again, I can legitimately say for myself, now I'm not, there may be people who know of other movies that are this theologically accurate. So I'm not saying it's the only one. I'm saying in my life, I have never seen what turns out to be the most accurate depiction of theological basic structure, classical theological structure, before, and it's in a mid-90s, straight-to-video feature from the same outfit that made Puppet Master. None of that is jokes. I say this all dead serious. This is a full moon features movie. Again, Trancers, Puppet Master, Castle Freak. This is not an outfit that's generally known for doing deep level classic theology films. This isn't like, Kirk Cameron makes those
but the thing
Left Behind movies.
But it wears very B movie clothes. That's how it gets away with it.
I totally agree. And that's what makes it
but if you stop
legitimately
and you go,
a
"Wait
hidden
minute."
gem.
Yeah. So,
This is a rare case where I say, I'm not saying this is a hidden gem. Yes, I am. This is a hidden gem. Yes, it's clothed in a B movie, but what it's talking about is straightforward and serious.
Yeah, and she starts punishing people for God.
Yeah.
On Earth. Yeah.
Also, a film with a deep level of tolerance. The doctor, who is under the Hippocratic oath of first do no harm, is accepting of a demon who's like, yeah, I have to murder because they're evil and that's what God wants. Now, as far as we know, Max Barris is not religious. He does not
they never
seem to
really
have
give
any.
you yeah.
No. Maybe that makes it easier for him to go, you know what? Okay. And they sort of give, because then there's the other side of it going, oh, well, generally, God, well, Christianity, I should say, tends to look down on premarital sex, but she's a demon. I don't think it applies. So he's good. He's not having premarital sex with a human. So he's fine.
Yeah.
As far as I know, if a human bangs a demon, they're not exempted from heaven, right? I mean, the only problem is when he dies, aren't they going to go to two separate places, or will he do something to go down there with him?
No, you're forgetting what he said to her.
What did he say?
I will do something so terrible that I end up where you are.
Oh, that's right. Yes. So see, he's covered. He would do what I did. I'm sorry. He's going to do what I would do in his situation. Yeah. No, he's right. That's right. I forgot. Yeah. See, this is a movie about true commitment to a person you find a legitimate connection to. Again, in a full moon feature about deep level classical Christian mythology, theology, depending on what word you want to apply.
Yeah.
It's this. All these statements seem like a joke.
No,
None of them are.
And the thing is, she is ripping people apart. She is a demon. She is punishing them. And that's the thing is that this movie is amusing as well as being like.
And it's not
more...
murder because she's a demon.
Well, wait, listen. It is murder, but she, as far as in the realm of this movie, she is performing God's punishment. So no, it's not to her.
That's what I'm saying. For her, it's not murder. What I'm saying is she's a functionary of God.
Yeah. And they've already proven that there is a God in this universe of this movie.
Yeah, they call it the first cause is God, but that's
her
the
parents
thing is,
even get the floating FaceTime saying that she is doing God's work. So yeah,
they don't.
They
what
are
I was expecting at first,
they're literally rooting for her.
Yeah, I thought at first when the floating metaverse version of I don't know, Gabriel or whatever showed up, I thought she was going to say your daughter has gone too far,
has gone rogue. Yeah,
yeah, but no, she's like no, back off. Thumbs up from the big G. We're good. Let her run. And they immediately go, okay, you got it. We work for you.
That said, I wouldn't tell anyone to see this movie because it is still a horror movie on a very minor level, and it's still a B movie on some level. So I don't know who I would tell to see this.
I recommended this to a number of people.
Okay.
As soon as we finished watching it.
Got it.
I don't know that all those people will make it all the way through it because as you said,
that's what I mean. Because
I would recommend this to anyone.
And if you
it's so unique.
And if you miss that first part about the fact that they're fundamentalist Christians, I think you're confused for the rest of the movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were at first, and then we figured it out. I think it does make it clear when the angel shows up twice. That's the clear. And this is what I mean about the angel showing up to say, no, this is good. This is what we want. This is what happens. That's one clue. And then when she says the God is the center of the wheel, it's very good writing because it's a very clear visual analogy for somebody who might be still confused. Oh, got it. That's what I mean about the omission of any mention of the devil in any form for anybody who doesn't know. And then the depiction of a wheel where everything leads back to God. Even though, yes, you're right. Logically, of course it all does. But again, much of what we see in entertainment does not depict it that way. It makes it almost like if the devil can if he can just figure out where the chink in the armor of God is, he can take him down. He can get him. It's a lot of what we see. That's bullshit. No, he can't. Not under the way it's actually structured.
No.
Because God already knows what he's going to do, and he's stronger, so it doesn't matter.
The devil or Lucifer, who are different entities, if you actually read the theology, are employees. They're all employees of God.
Yes.
Yeah. Hell, listen.
But as I said,
hell is just another place that God owns where he sends the sinners. That's it.
Right.
But he owns it. He owns all of it. He created all of it. It's his. In that theology,
sure.
It's all his.
Yeah. But taking into account that much of the planet is not Christian.
Yeah.
And even the people who claim to be, many are not actually as knowledgeable as they may think they are. Because they may think that saying hi to God when you pray at night is as much as you need to do, and they don't learn anything else, and maybe never went to school or anything or whatever. They may be getting their interpretation of Christian theology based on popular media.
I know.
And much of popular media...
Bad. That's so bad.
Well, it is, but it's But you have to remember that a lot of this stuff is aimed to be easily understood. And it is it can be intricate for a person to put together that everything comes from God as the first thing. What is easier to contextualize, because we are especially in the United States, but in many other places, we come to understand morality and relationships through good guy versus bad guy. At one time, it would have been cowboys versus Indians, or now it's superheroes versus supervillains. It's a good person versus a bad person. It's tougher to say, well, all of it comes from a good person, even the bad things.
Christianity is actually all about free will, and it's God going, you have the ability to do good and bad things, but if you do bad things, I will punish you forever.
Right.
And these are my employees.
It's much easier for somebody to understand.
You're punished, yeah.
Person on throne in white robe with shining light, good. Yeah. Person covered in red paint with tail and pitchfork, bad.
Yeah.
And they fight because each of them wants you. So you have to act good, so you go up and not down.
Yeah.
That's
and
just
the reality
easy.
And the reality is that God always has you. It's just where you go.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
But that's why I'm saying is I think this movie, for the people who don't have that deeper knowledge, is written far more intelligently than you would think looking at the poster and who released it and the basics of how it functions. It's actually written very well to communicate the classic version.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of feedback we get if anybody ventures to see this.
Yeah, it's very easy to find. It's all over the place for free.
Yeah.
And I would actually encourage most people, you have to be okay with a little bit of gore and some nudity.
Yeah, but honestly, other
shockingly...
than her, other than her arriving at Earth, there's very little nudity after that.
Yeah, very little, but still,
If any,
it's there, and it's not subtle. It's there. Yeah. But also, on the surface, to read the description of this, some people might think it's going to be blasphemous, and it's not.
No, not really at all.
That's not. This is how paradoxical this movie is, which is why it fascinates me. Is outside of the nudity and the gore, I would recommend this to anybody who wants to see a atypical and I'll say it correctly, very grammatically correctly, an atypical depiction of classic Christian theology in a way that most media bungles or does in a more simplistic and therefore incorrect manner. This movie follows it correctly, which is, and I know some of this is me, so you have to understand, I've seen a lot of full moon stuff and I love it, but I am not accustomed to it taking theology seriously and then writing it correctly and having a happy ending.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It is such a strange movie that I have to very, very forcefully, strongly makes it sound like I'm going to shove it down your throat. Yeah. I would unabashedly recommend it to anybody. You just have to know there's a little bit of nudity and some gore. But it's so unique. By the way, to build on that, if anybody knows of another movie that is like this, please tell us. Because I would be fascinated to compare. I really would. So this has been a great week. 2 movies that are hilariously entertaining as pure rip-off garbage. And I say garbage lovingly, not that they're actually bad, because they're not. They're both fun. And by the way, also those 2, you can find those everywhere. You are not going to have to pay anything to watch any of these movies. That's another good thing about these. It's typically the stuff where we wonder if it holds up. Usually nobody else cares about it but us. So, first 2, a lot of fun, but also very derivative and largely empty. But Dark Angel? No, that's something. It's something special because it is so unusual. So, knowing what you're going to be walking into in terms of the gore and the nudity, which there's not a ton of, but it is there, I would tell people, take a chance on this one because it's just so unusual. And normally unusual, when I talk about it, I have to caption it with, it's not, I wouldn't call it a hidden, I would call this a hidden gem. A term I don't use much anymore because usually it doesn't apply. But this one, this is something.
Like I said, that's why the input will be interesting. See what we get.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Like I said, if there's any other examples people know of, please let me know. And we will endeavor to watch them because this was riveting. We were transfixed by this thing.
We definitely didn't know where the fuck it was going to go, yeah.
No, and it genuinely, it didn't falter. It made it all the way through. And I really have nothing bad to say about it because it is so different. On that note, this episode is 999. So isn't that the real number of the devil? So maybe this is fitting. I thought they said it's actually 999, not 666. So I don't know. Again, my theology is very loose. But in any event, we've been talking for a long time. So whatever you choose to watch this weekend, enjoy it. And yeah, feedback is very much welcome. On that note, we'll talk to you again next week. Visit OzoneNightmare.com to subscribe to new episodes or to browse through our back catalog. Email questions or comments to ozonenightmare@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, visit supportourshow.com and select whatever option works best for you. The opening theme for the show is provided by Heartbeat Hero. The closing theme is provided by Ogre. Please visit and support these artists using the links in the show notes for each episode.